Okay, my dudes, we are live. This is going to be another fantastic day, and I've just been having so much fun doing this. Like no lie, this is everything that I look forward to the entire day. I'm just going, okay, when can I get my work done? When can we come out here and get this live stream going? So yeah, we are getting it a little early today. Usually we've been kicking these off at about 8 p.m. Eastern, but instead this one's going to be about 7:53. And guys, I know that people are probably going to get annoyed because I said 8 p.m. Eastern, but I have a little tidbit for everybody watching this stream right now, everybody that is maybe watching this as a video later on. If you want to come out and you want to participate in one of these drafts that happen live, you need to do three things, okay? You need to first subscribe to the channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel by now, I mean, turn off the video, turn off the stream. What else do I have to do to get you to hit that subscribe button? B, you need to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button. That way YouTube tells you when we are live and you can come out and you can join with us. And C, due to the fact that we are uploading so many videos and streams every single day, YouTube kind of doesn't like that in the algorithm. So they aren't necessarily going to send you that notification every time unless you are dropping those likes on the video. So please drop a like on this video / live stream, whatever you're doing. And yeah, let's get this going very early. I will send out a notification in the Discord chat for anybody who maybe didn't get the notification on YouTube. I'm going to be posting our first draft on Patreon. This is what we do every single time, where I'll show you all the screen real quick of what exactly is going to happen on my end. Okay, so we go to Patreon. I say, getting the live stream going, hop in the draft. We upload that. That's going to be a $5 underdog draft. Then we're going to come over here, get ready for this to fill. It should fill in probably about 30, 40 seconds with everybody who gets that notification from Patreon and wants to come out in the chat. And then afterwards, guys, what we are going to be doing is when we complete this $5 draft, we are either going to be getting a $50 or a $100 draft that's going to be in the live chat. Now, we started this stream off a little early because I want to try to get another $5 draft in at the end if anybody wasn't able to participate in one of the first two. So yeah, we're going to try to do 3 drafts tonight. We did 4 drafts yesterday. So yeah, let's just get this going. And it's filling. We get the 103. I'm fine with the 103. We're going to get Alvin Kamara here. And the more I really think about it, the more I want to slide Davante Adams up to the 103. We actually had a video come out today about why Davante Adams, in my opinion, is such a good draft pick in fantasy this year. And he's my 104 currently, but still with Alvin Kamara, we really need to make sure we're monitoring the Taysom Hill situation if we think that he should go up sometime soon. Okay, so Nick coming out with a donation. Thank you, my dude, saying, what up, Flock? What side do you like? CMC and Deontay Johnson or Jonathan Taylor and Chris Godwin, a PPR Dynasty 12-team league? Okay, so this being Dynasty definitely makes it a lot closer because obviously if this was just a trade for 2021, we're taking Christian McCaffrey. We're not even thinking about it. But here with Jonathan Taylor, I actually think you need to panic for him for his early season production in 2021, given the Quentin Nelson injury, given the Carson Wentz injury, given the early season schedule that the Indianapolis Colts have. But for Dynasty, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, still an elite talent. That offensive line is going to be very good for many years to come. So I'll say I still think you go with Christian McCaffrey and Deontay Johnson, but it's not going to be a no-brainer in Dynasty because obviously you have to boost the value of Jonathan Taylor just slightly. So we're going to go Alvin Kamara here at the 103 like we said we were going to because obviously you know that Christian McCaffrey at the 101, he's a lock. Dalvin Cook at the 102, he's a lock. In my opinion, the 103 can't be Derrick Henry. I know a lot of people want to draft Derrick Henry there. I think that is wrong based on so many different reasons. Derrick Henry has had over 800 touches the past 2 years. At the same time, he's 27 years old. This is when you see those running backs fall off. He went over 2,000 rushing yards last year and still was not one of the top running backs in fantasy. He was a top 5 option, but he didn't reach that Christian McCaffrey type ceiling, which you want to see, which we've seen from Alvin Kamara before. So we want to chase that running back that has access to the #1 overall upside, which Alvin Kamara just showed us. Derrick Henry went for over 2,000 yards. He still couldn't get there just based on the fact that he doesn't get used in the receiving game. So we're wanting to fade a player with that prototype, and I think we are fine here going with Alvin Kamara over Derrick Henry. And I'm not just fine with it. I wouldn't consider Derrick Henry until the 105. I think I actually also prefer Davante Adams over him, given the red flags. And like I already said with Derrick Henry as well. I mean, he actually loses his offensive coordinator who goes over to be a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. You don't necessarily know how that's going to impact the offense. But let me also just go through Okay, Zachary says, why do you not like Sanders? He's the clear running back there and the offense isn't good. My man, I made a video about Miles Sanders today, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer this in the live stream just out of principle because you actually came out here and you spam that question over and over and over again. Y'all know you can't spam, so you're going to get muted for 5 minutes. My man, I'm not answering a question that you spam over and over and over again. Okay, so now let's go through. What I really want to see, guys, is let's see exactly how far Jonathan Taylor falls because all these drafts are happening after the Quentin Nelson injury, which obviously makes a very large impact. Luke says, is the chat on sub only mode? My man, I will go change it to subscribers only for the chat because obviously it's going to get crazy in here if I don't. So let me definitely change it to subscribers only. Thank you for reminding me to do so. Okay, let's see if I can even figure out how to do this. This is something we've done like 3 times before. I used to never do it. Okay, details. Let's go down. Okay, that wrong button, Mason. Wrong button. Maybe I forgot how to do it, to be completely honest. I don't know if maybe they took away the ability to go subscriber only for the chat. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing here, my dudes. Actually, we just figured it out. We just figured it out. Okay, perfect. We'll change it to subscriber only. Okay, so Jonathan Taylor still has yet to go off the draft board. Okay, so you have these wide receivers going over him in DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. I actually think that that's the correct decision. I think with all the concerns that you have for Jonathan Taylor, we dropped him in our rankings to the 207. If you've checked out our rankings on Patreon over the past, I want to say 6 hours, you've already seen that. But here, DK Metcalf goes over Jonathan Taylor as well. Am I missing something here? Maybe Jonathan Taylor went and I didn't see. No, actually, Jonathan Taylor did go at the 206. Okay, good thing. I thought we were about to have to draft Jonathan Taylor at the 210, which I would have been completely fine with. I would have been happy. I would have been ecstatic to start a draft off with Alvin Kamara and Jonathan Taylor, but obviously that is not going to be an option here. Okay, so let's see what falls to us. We're going to be most likely looking either running back or tight end here. Scantron ended up going with Derrick Henry in the first, so really could go with the wide receiver. I think that when you get to the second round here, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes off the board. So a big thing about underdog fantasy, which I have not talked about in this stream, which of course I'm going to, is since it's best ball and you do not have access to the waiver wire, your roster construction is optimal to have a good draft. And when you take Darren Waller at the end of the second round, that allows you to actually only have to draft one more tight end throughout the entire draft. So I really like getting Darren Waller. We get the extra spot for our wide receiver later on. So yeah, Darren Waller at the 210 is going to be a no-brainer for me. Okay, also guys, if you have not dropped a like on the live stream, drop a like on it. How about we try to aim for 4 drafts again tonight? We'll definitely get 3, and I'm promising y'all 3 drafts. Let's try to get to 4, though. Okay, so now okay. I said this in another live stream. I was like, what would happen if a team started out Darren Waller and George Kittle? I don't know if we can do it, even though it would screw a wrench into what happens with tight ends later on. Maybe we want to try it because it's a $5 league. We're going to try it. I know this is crazy. It may be a bad idea, and it can easily be a bad idea. And let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. But I think based on us going Darren Waller and George Kittle here, it's not going to allow another team in this draft to only really draft 2 tight ends. All of a sudden, teams are really going to have to be loading up on 3 tight ends. Possibly that pushes them up the board. Someone like a TJ Hawkinson, someone like a Mark Andrews. So that could easily be a poor decision to go to go with George Kittle over a CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb would have been my other choice there that we should have gone. Now, I would much prefer making the mistake in a $5 draft compared to a $50 or $100 draft that we are going to be doing later tonight. So we're taking Kittle there at the 303. And yeah, let's see how it plays out because I honestly do not know how this is going to work. Obviously, in a Dynasty tight end premium format, I love coming away with both Darren Waller and George Kittle. In an underdog format, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, so now let's go through. Lost Camp says, I thought I had Kittle falling to me. Damn you, Mason. Okay, so Lost Camp, you thought you were getting Kittle at the 305. There's no way you were getting Kittle at the 305. I mean, if we passed on Kittle at the 303, he was going at the 304 for sure. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about us taking Kittle and Waller there. So now this is going to be a build where we get our extra wide receivers. I will say that. So let's see where tight ends go. I actually really liked what happened in another draft we did last night where we started off with 4 running backs. And what ended up happening is running backs way later in the draft got pushed up boards. Then we got wide receivers falling to us. I don't know if the same thing is going to happen here with tight end. We're going to track it. We will see. But yeah, George Kittle at the 303 there. I think the difference between him and our tight end 2 possibly is larger than what we'd be finding with the opportunity cost to take a wide receiver there. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about that. Of course, there's a flex spot in this league. Yes, George Kittle and Darren Waller can both play on the same lineup every single week if their scores allow it. But yeah, let me know what y'all think, because obviously you're going to be expecting your tight ends to score a little bit less than your wide receivers. Okay, Noah says, Mason's going crazy. Excited to see it. Yes, sir. Noah, I'm actually going to make you a moderator for the channel real quick. I mean, just in case we have someone spamming over and over and over again, just, you don't have to ban them or mute them permanently. Just, it literally says put user in timeout. If you don't want to do it, if you don't want that responsibility, you don't have to do it at all. But I at least want you to have the option. Guys, if y'all don't know, Noah is actually making all the signs for the studio. He made the sign in the back. He's also making our underdog sign that should be available very shortly. We had a meeting with it earlier today. And then Wanted Alex is making a wooden sign for us with our logo that I cannot wait to see. So yeah, got you that mod, and let's go through. Okay, so Godwin at the 401, Cooper Kupp at the 402. Okay, Hawkinson goes at the 404. I wonder if that's above ADP for Hawkinson. So it actually is, which is intriguing to track. Now, what we need to see is we need to see a Mark Andrews. We need to see a Kyle Pitts draft pick, because obviously that bodes well if we are going to be trying to get these tight ends to go up the board. So hopefully it happens. Usually the live chat, they don't like that to happen. If I try to dictate a draft, they just give me the middle finger. They say, no, Mason, you're not Mr. Hotshot. You're not being able to pull that off. So yeah, let's see what goes on from here. Okay, so now let's go through and see if we have anything else. Sam says, joined an underdog draft, but it has an endless clock. The 1 and 2 pick have been combined 2 hours. Yeah, so that's a big thing about underdog. You can either choose to play in a slow draft or a fast draft. You have to make sure you're reading the description. All the drafts we're going to do on this channel are obviously going to be a live draft. So just make sure you are reading the description of the contest you are joining. Okay, so now at the 410, after going running back, tight end here, Chris Carson goes. I actually thought we were going to be drafting Chris Carson in this range, and that was going to allow us to just get another wide receiver. But instead, given that it's best ball, I don't necessarily know if we would make this decision if you had to submit your starting lineup each and every week. We are going to take Tyler Lockett here, but since your best players automatically start for the given week, I think Tyler Lockett's actually going to be a very good selection there at the 410. Hopefully we get another wide receiver that we like falling back to us in the 5th. Maybe we get a running back. Obviously, we can't be looking at tight end. And honestly, I don't even think we can be looking at quarterback when we give up the opportunity cost of getting that wide receiver in the 3rd round. So yeah, I'm excited to see this play out. Kyle Pitts ended up going at the 407. So possibly you are seeing these tight ends slide up a bit. I just want to see how it plays out. I could be completely wrong. It's a $5 draft. Let's make sure we have this pinned down. If this strategy works, then we can throw it in a $100 draft that we may be doing later tonight if we get the opportunity. But this is a big reason why you want to take advantage of our promo that we actually have on Underdog right now. What you want to do is you want to go to Underdog. I'll send a link out in the live chat. There'll be a link in the description of the video. There'll be a link in the comment section of the video that says join Underdog with promo code FLOCK. You join Underdog with promo code FLOCK. You get a free $25 to play with after you deposit $10. And you can go through and you can do a ton of these drafts and you can test out different strategies. So when you go for the main fantasy football league you care about, you're going to be an excellent drafter to a point where you don't really have to worry about it at all. And here we are going to be taking Josh Jacobs. I actually just recorded a video about Josh Jacobs earlier today that should come out, I believe, in 2 days. And yeah, with Jacobs, I think he's a running back that I was screaming was overrated when he was being drafted in the 3rd round. But now that he's falling to the 5th round, I actually like the value that we're getting with Josh Jacobs. And here, I think this saves an extra roster spot for wide receiver for us. So maybe we're pushing it off a little too far, but I want to be trying some new things here. So getting our running back position with Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, our tight ends with Darren Waller, George Kittle. We only have one wide receiver, which of course is concerning with Tyler Lockett. Zachary comes out, says, what's the buy-in for the next draft? I mean, the next draft's either going to be a $50 or a $100 buy-in, depending on what people are wanting to see, depending on what people are wanting to play in. Okay, I'm gonna have to get my dog in here. I'm sorry, my dudes. Okay, I got her. Hopefully we do not have to get kicked out of this apartment with her barking now. Okay, so Spat coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. Says, I like to go running back, or at least 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, because then you can take another running back later and survive an injury easier. Running backs are the most injury-prone position / harder to find in free agency. Yes, I understand the thesis behind going running back early, but a big thing is when you're talking about running backs being the most susceptible to injury, I completely agree with you there. So if you're taking multiple of them at the very beginning of the draft in underdog format, I actually think that's going to be ideal. But compared to a league where you have a waiver wire, I mean, I would rather just kind of know that there are going to be a lot of injuries, go through, avoid the injuries, and instead go get those guys off the waiver wire like a James Robinson, a Myles Gaskin from last year. So yeah, I think that I understand the thought process there, my man. I don't necessarily know if I agree with it fully, but real quick, let me slide this screen down. Sorry, my dudes, I did not know we were taking that up. Okay, so now we have some elite quarterbacks going off the board. Travis Etienne falls all the way to the 508. I definitely like that Travis Etienne value. I mean, y'all know I've been on Travis Etienne for a very long time now. So if we go through, Ickelwick has a very interesting start here where he's kind of gone completely different than us. He's loaded up with wide receivers. Happy to see JN gets in this draft. JN pretty much in every single draft. Okay, so he goes Aaron Jones, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Darrell Henderson at the 512. What other running backs were available right now? So the other running backs would have been a Mike Davis, a Javonte Williams, a Myles Gaskin, a Kareem Hunt. So I think I don't necessarily prefer Darrell Henderson there, but I understand the thought process behind wanting that. Okay. So Odell goes at the 5'11 here. Okay, so these wide receivers are going a little early, but to be completely honest, I know we're live streaming, so we probably shouldn't be saying it out loud, but it's obvious at this point we are wanting wide receivers to fall to us. We need wide receivers falling in. Okay, so Javonte at the 601. Okay, so JN kind of, I don't want to say fixes the running back position, but he definitely addresses it with those two picks. And when you have Aaron Jones in the first round, I mean, Aaron Jones is such a nice pick to build around that you don't necessarily feel a massive need at running back, even if you decided to go very wide receiver heavy in rounds 2, 3, 4. Okay, so DJ Chark, Myles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt. So yeah, like I said, guys, we need these wide receivers falling to us. Dak Prescott, okay, we can't go quarterback on this team. We need a wide receiver. And what happened to the tight ends? How far down are the tight ends? Okay, so it looks like the tight ends possibly did get pushed up the draft board just slightly. I don't necessarily know if it completely paid off. Okay, so we have Jerry Jeudy going here at the 606. Now, it sounds like Courtland Sutton may not be 100% back from that knee injury, so I think we actually may be having to adjust the rankings and move Jerry Jeudy up, move Courtland Sutton down. I'm not really targeting either wide receiver in this draft, so I haven't been super aggressive and going out there and making a change like that, because if you're following the rankings, you're not coming away with a lot of Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy anyway. Okay, so Sermon at the 607. Robbie Anderson. Okay, Robbie Anderson was a wide receiver that I really liked. What we need to do is we need to check the injury status on Kenny Golladay. Okay, it looks like we don't have a shot at Kenny Golladay anyway. Mike Davis is a running back that I absolutely hate. I will say that Mike Davis, I think in the majority of drafts, is extremely overrated. We haven't drafted him in a single draft so far. But here, if we were going to get him at this kind of value, if I ever have to draft Mike Davis, I think we're actually going to end up doing it at the 6'10 compared to where he goes in the 5th round a lot. I mean, a lot of times he goes back to back with Josh Jacobs, which I think is horrendous. But if we're ever going to draft Mike Davis, I think we actually do it at the 6'10, even though he's a player that I'm going to be avoiding in 99% of these. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the only league that I end up drafting Mike Davis with. And a big thing here is Devonta Smith suffers that knee injury. Courtland Sutton not 100% back from his own one. So those wide receivers have to be falling down slightly in this range. And I don't necessarily know if we can pass up on a Mike Davis to get one of those guys that we have to be a little bit concerned with. Okay, also guys, get us over 100 likes on the live stream. Please go down there, drop a like on the live stream. It helps us out so much. It doesn't help us out as much as you using promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And oh my God, I have a massive announcement that I forgot to give. I was supposed to give it at the beginning of the video. Well, I wasn't supposed to. I mean, they didn't tell me to, but I was hoping to do it. Okay, JN says a Donta Foreman season. My man, did Donta Foreman actually get signed or something? Did something happen with Donta Foreman? Okay, but let me make this pick, and then I have a massive announcement for y'all that I'm excited to go through and talk about. Okay, so at wide receiver, like I said, I mean, Courtland Sutton, it sounds like he is working his way back slowly. He's a wide receiver that I've been avoiding anyway. People are doing this on purpose. I was trying to specifically avoid saying his name in Laviska Shenault, praying that Shenault fell to us at the 703. I was trying to throw people off the scent by talking about Courtland Sutton. But this is going to be a build that I've never tried on Underdog. and y'all are all going to witness it yourself. And this could easily be my worst underdog draft of all time. But here we're going to be drafting Russell Wilson. We have taken, and this is, trust me, guys, something I never, ever do. I do not punt wide receiver like this, especially on underdog. But we have gone 7 rounds with only drafting Tyler Lockett. And I think the majority of the time when you do that, your team is, I don't want to say completely dead, but it is a very bad roster. But I think based on the value that's fallen to us so far, really the only pick that we can look back on and say we could have gone a wide receiver there would most likely, I guess we can say it with George Kittle and we can say it with Josh Jacobs, but Mike Davis at the 6'10", we kind of had to take him. Russell Wilson at the 7'03". I don't know if we can go with the Juju there. Y'all know I really do like Juju Smith-Schuster, but when we take Russell Wilson, we are going to only be drafting 2 quarterbacks here. So I think we actually only build this team out with 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, and the rest of the draft is going to be wide receivers. We're just throwing as many wide receiver dart throws as we can throw at that dartboard. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Please let me know what y'all think about this because I don't think it's something I'm going to be doing very often. I'd imagine it turns out poorly, but it's going to be fun to see. And that's what I'm saying, guys. This is the best thing about underdog because, I mean, I've said this time and time and time again, but if you are trying to get to be a better drafter for your fantasy draft this year, the worst thing you could ever do is go use a mock draft tool, go battle against the machine. That means nothing. What you have to do is you have to mock draft against real people that have money on the line. Because if you're mock drafting against real people, what's going to end up happening is by the time you get to week 5, Johnny over here is going to have to go cook his family dinner. Sarah over there is going to have to go tuck the kids into bed. And then by the time you get to round 5, I mean, you're going up against the computer again. Half the people in there are auto drafting and you are not getting any better at drafting. But if you want to become a better drafter, use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. It's a real platform with real money that you can actually go through. They give you a $25 bonus with promo code FLOCK. At the same time, I will send you our 2021 draft guide when you sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. And I think you can go through, you can test out some intriguing stuff like this because, I mean, testing out a draft strategy like this wouldn't mean anything against a computer. But I'm going to be excited to see how this pans out, even if it isn't exactly how I want. Okay, let's go out and see. We also passed 100 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. And yeah, I know that this is going to be a tough draft, guys, but we'll see if we can get over it with wide receiver quantity instead of wide receiver quality. So like I said, guys, we just are praying that wide receivers fall at this point. And I'm always the guy that by the time we get to round 7, usually I have 5 wide receivers on the team. Usually I don't go heavy running back. Y'all know me. And usually we don't have an option to take an elite tight end. So this is just a completely different build. Okay. Let's go through. Okay, so Kevin says, let's all calm down. We are on the same team here. Okay, is there someone in the chat that's going through and fighting? Okay, so Marlo, you can be toxic. Okay, how about this? It looks like Marlo's causing problems in the chat. Marlo, you can cause problems with me. You can come in here, and of course, I'm not going to boot you for calling me an idiot, telling me that I don't know what I'm doing, because I don't care when people tell me that. I think that it's actually really useful when they have an explanation on why I'm stupid, and they leave that down in the comment section. But you cannot go after the other people in the flock in the live chat, because you're never going to be able to have a meaningful conversation through a live chat with people you don't know. So if you want to call me stupid, I am fine with it, but please don't be going and disrupting things that are going on in the live chat. Okay, so now at the 8-10, okay, Hollywood Brown obviously sticks. This is what sucks about drafting with the flock. This is the literal stone worst, because of course, if we pass on wide receiver, they go, okay, this is the one draft where we are going to gobble wide receivers up. We're going to make Mason look stupid. It is what it is, though. I think we just continue to take value, to be completely honest. Raheem Mostert goes here. Maybe we take an AJ. No, we can't take an AJ Dillon. We actually have to go wide receiver. I think we actually go Darnell Mooney. I don't necessarily like it, but Michael Pittman has the Carson Wentz situation. Hollywood Brown, last I read, yes, he's with a hamstring injury. So we're going to go Darnell Mooney. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Darnell Mooney, but in a best ball format, when he's a field stretching wide receiver, possibly he sees some spike weeks. So I think we kind of have to reach here on wide receiver, given the fact that, I mean, everybody here thought it would be funny to do a little wide receiver run, leave us with nothing. But yeah, we're going Darnell Mooney at the 8-10. Okay, so also, guys, if you have not already, please make sure you drop a like on the live stream. If you're watching this as a video later on and you want to come out to the streams, you want to participate in the live chat, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell. Now, James Robinson does go at the 8-11. Now, let's see where Ickelbick decides to take this next pick. I'd imagine he's probably going to go running back. Actually, no, he has Christian McCaffrey. He has the flexibility to do whatever he wants, to be completely honest. So he goes Ronald Jones. So he does have 3 running backs. He has 5 wide receivers. His build is way, way, way better than ours. Ickelbick has absolutely killed us in this draft so far. Okay, DeAndre says, my dude, need your help finding me a redraft league to join. My man, join our Discord chat. I'm sure that you can find something and put it together there. We're going to be doing all our 2021 drafts on Underdog Fantasy. I'll be doing like 3 or 4 every single night from here on out. So just make sure you come in, you hop in some of these with us. And yeah, if you want to find a traditional redraft league, go to the Discord chat. I'm sure you'll be able to put something together. Okay, so Noah Fant goes. Okay, so like I said, we like seeing those tight ends go off the draft board. We literally cannot consider drafting a tight end here. I really wish we had more news about the Marquise Brown injury, but instead I actually think we go A.J. Dillon, a running back that I really like for a multitude of reasons that we've already talked about so many times, so I don't want to dive into it a little bit more, but I think we're done at running back now. We have Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Mike Davis, A.J. Dillon. Not a strong running back position. We could possibly take a 5th coming in here. At tight end, Darren Waller, George Kittle. At quarterback, Russell Wilson. And then I think what we do is, given the fact that this is a best ball format, we don't have to submit our starting lineup. Like I said, this is a disgusting draft. We tried something. I didn't like how it panned out. You live and you learn. But I think we go quantity over quality at wide receiver. We're possibly going to be drafting 10 wide receivers in this format, just chasing those spike weeks, knowing that 3 can slide in and out of our starting lineup whenever they see that long bomb touchdown. So yeah, let's go through and let's get some wide receivers filling this out. Okay, Zachary says, Mason, what are your thoughts on the rumors of Nick Foles to the Colts? Guys, it doesn't matter. I mean, if Nick Foles goes to the Colts, do you think that makes the Colts that much better? I don't think it matters at all, to be completely honest. If Phillip Rivers goes back to the Colts, then we can talk. If Andrew Luck goes back to the Colts, then we can talk. But if it's Nick Foles, we saw him in Chicago last year. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, so we got some quarterbacks going off the board. We need QBs. We need quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends going off the board. The last thing we need to see is more wide receivers being drafted, just because we are in desperate need for that position. Okay, so Melvin Gordon at the 10:01. I do like that value for Melvin Gordon. I mean, when you're getting him in the 10th round, the guaranteed touches at the beginning of the season possibly gets moved over to Los Angeles, which would be massive for his value, and I actually think that'd make a lot of sense for both teams. At the 10:01, I do think that's a good pick. Okay, Vinny says, what does the flock think about what Mason would probably call camp speech about Matt Breida potentially earning more shares in the Bills' pass-heavy offense? I don't think that means anything. Can I pull up the Matt Breida contract for us real quick? I think that maybe can shine some light on if that has any liquidity to it all. I mean, validity to it. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. So he's getting paid $990. He's getting paid the vet minimum. I'm not expecting him to be taking targets away from Devin Singletary. Okay, so now Henry Ruggs, Marvin Jones. Come on, give us some wide receivers coming back. We got Ryan Tannehill going off the board. We need to see these QBs once we take Russell Wilson in the 7th. Okay, so at wide receiver, y'all know that I hate Michael Pittman. Of course, we are hoping Michael Pittman goes before our next pick. I mean, this is a wide receiver that I've been avoiding over and over and over again all offseason, especially when he's being drafted over Laviska Shenault and people are just going crazy. Maybe we have to consider him in the 10th or 11th round if he falls to us just based on ADP. Rondell Moore goes to the 10:07. So let's see, because obviously we're only looking wide receiver here. And I know this is not what we should be saying if we're trying to make our team the best possible, because we're live streaming, so I don't want to be giving our strategy away completely. But I think it's more important for me to go through, talk about the strategy for everybody that's in this live chat right now, where my thoughts at compared to just protecting my own team and possibly getting a little bit more value on one pick. Okay, so Jayan says, if that happened, there would be 2 former Westlake quarterbacks on the roster, and Ellinger would be the better one. Yikes. My man, that is crazy that both Nick Foles and Sam Ellinger went to Westlake. Didn't Drew Brees go to Westlake as well? Let me look up Drew Brees High School. I'm pretty sure Drew Brees. Yeah, so Drew Brees went to Westlake as well. That is just ridiculous. Okay, so Justin Fields goes at the 10-11. That's what we need to see. We're not looking quarterback here. We're just going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Okay, also let me go through. Let me check our bye week real quick because Jayan said something about his. We are fine at bye. Thank God. We are actually set up very nicely at bye, which is something we need to be when this team is going to be pretty thin at every position. Okay, this is horrendous, my dudes. I just got a notification that our mouse is about to die. Okay, so hopefully it's good for this next pick. This is going to be a tough live stream. Okay, so let's go through, see what we are going to be doing here. Okay, at the 11:03, we possibly, a big thing is maybe we could go with the running back and we draft a running back here and we know for sure that we're done with the running back position. Michael Pittman's someone I have nowhere, but I think given this team build, how desperate we are for a wide receiver. Okay, so he goes. If Michael Pittman was falling to us, we were going to be drafting Michael Pittman. Now I actually think we get James Conner as a running back 5. And then from there, if we look at the draft board, we would have so many picks to spend on wide receiver. We're getting James Conner here. This build is going to be 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and then the rest of the draft is going to be wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Okay, so let me scroll through real quick, show this board nice and clean, and then we'll pivot over and get this charged. Okay, so hopefully this charge that we are about to give it for the next 30 seconds can last a decent amount in the live stream. Okay, so Gus Edwards does go off the clock here at the 11:05. Now, we are done with tight end. We are done with running back. 100%. There's no way we could ever decide to go with one of those positions again in this draft based on how thin we are currently at wide receiver and how many guys we are going to have to draft to make up for it. So what we are hoping for now is we are hoping to see tight ends. We are hoping to see running backs all fly off the board. Okay, so now let me check the general chat real quick and see. Daniel says AJ Green is a good late round pickup. Yes, sir. I mean, with how many snaps AJ Green's going to be playing in an offense that goes through and actually has a ton of 4 wide receiver sets for a underdog draft, I actually do think that AJ Green would make a ton of sense for a draft like this. Okay, so debating on drafting Kelsey with Waller being my keeper in a redraft, good or bonkers strategies. Cheers, Flockers. My man, we're about to see based on this draft right here. Lank Dog says, good luck in all your drafts tonight, Flockers. Totally agree with Mason. Nothing like real money drafts to prep for the big ones coming up. Yes, sir, my man. Thank you for the donation, of course. And yeah, the number one. Okay, I completely forgot to get to our announcement, guys. I've been talking a lot about the potential of if we hit 10,000 subscribers to go through and buy 4 members of the flock tickets to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. We go through, I make a custom made costume for the Fantasy Flock Network with our mascot. We go to the game, we do a Tampa meetup, we vlog the entire thing for everybody. Now, we actually got confirmation from Underdog that they love that idea. They're willing to sponsor that idea. So it is on, guys. If we get 10,000 Underdog signups with promo code FLOCK, which there is no reason for you to never do this deal because it's too good to pass up on. I wish I could explain why they're doing it. I don't understand it really at all. They're giving you a free $25 when you make a $10 deposit. You're getting our 2021 draft guide. You're doing something that helps this channel more than anything else on the planet. So please, if you have yet to already, go make a $10 deposit on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. Take advantage of those offers and get in a live draft with us tonight or tomorrow night or the night after that or any night leading up until this season. I promise you, if you're watching this, just say it's August 14th and it's way down the line from where we are at right now. We're going to be live tonight. I know I'm saying that far in advance, but I promise you I'm baking in my entire August month just around streaming these Underdog drafts because I just look forward to this every single day. I mean, I wake up and I kind of want to get these going live. Okay, so now let me go through and we got our mouse charged just a little bit. So let's reset that screen. For anybody who's just now coming into the live draft, I will show the entire board just a little bit once we get up to my pick. I kind of want to make sure that we can get some of our own picks in real quick because I don't want to embarrass myself with how this draft has gone so far. Okay, so Latavius Murray does go off the board here. Latavius Murray, I do think that's a great value pick. I mean, we've actually drafted Latavius Murray in a decent amount of these drafts Now, Cole Beasley at the 1203. Beasley would have been one of the perfect wide receivers we could get in a format like this. Mike Gesicki at the 1204. Of course, we love to see those tight ends go off the draft board. Okay, so come on. Let's see some tight ends. Let's see some running backs get drafted. Lost Camp says, do promos work if you already have an account? Would love to support that way, but I don't think I can. Yeah, I'm sorry, my man. If you already made an account on Underdog Fantasy, which I know a lot of people have before we signed this partnership with them, no, it's not going to work. So I wish you could contribute to the 10,000 signups that are going to get us to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with other members of the flock, which is going to be very exciting. I can't wait to make a vlog out of it. We're going to try to make it like a movie. I'll go around Tampa and I'll be doing a bunch of fun things and just in the flock costume. So I'm excited about that, but yeah, you're not going to be able to really participate, and I am sorry for that. Okay. So now we are going to be going wide receiver, of course. Let's see where Lost Camp and Scantron decide to go. Probably they're going to go wide receiver because they know we are. DeAndre says, I wake up and think about Underdog and the flock too. My man, thank you for keeping us in your thoughts. These live drafts have just been so much fun. There's no better way to describe these live drafts than just fun. Okay, so we are going to go Jalen Reagor right now, especially with the Devontae Smith injury. I don't like Jalen Reagor. I hated him coming out of TCU in last year's draft, but if we're getting him at the 12-10 here and we just need to be drafting wide receiver, I think we're going to be fine with that value. Okay, so Jeff says, okay, let me show off the draft board real quick for anybody who's coming in and hasn't had a chance to see it. Okay, so yeah, you can pause it. You can take a screenshot, whatever you want. You can tell me how dumb I am. And guys, like I said, if you're watching this as a video later on and you weren't able to come out to the live stream, maybe you had work or something, please let me know your opinion in the comment section. Let me know where you think we made decent picks, where you think we made bad picks, and where we can continue to improve. Okay, so now here at the 12-11, let's see where we are going to be going. Okay, possibly... The thing is, John Brown reportedly is actually playing behind Bryan Edwards. I don't know if we can go John Brown here. If we go Matt Ryan, we're done with quarterback. We're going to go Matt Ryan, and after, just because the tier of wide receiver is so flat. I mean, wide receiver is the same throughout the rest of the draft. So this is, at wide receiver right now, we only have Tyler Lockett, Darnell Mooney, Devontae Parker, Jalen Reagor, which of course is disgusting. Now we're elite at the other positions. At quarterback, we have Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan. At running back, we have Alvin Kamara, Josh Jacobs, Mike Davis, A.J. Dillon, James Conner. At tight end, most importantly, we have Darren Waller and George Kittle. So yeah, hopefully we get some wide receiver value going. We're going to be drafting another 5 wide receivers on this team. So that will make up a total of 9 wide receivers in this draft. So yeah, let's see how this turns out. Okay, so let's see. Rashul says, I like the draft except George Kittle. Yeah, George Kittle, that was a pick that I said whenever we made it, I went, you know what? This is probably a bad pick, but it's a $5 draft. We're going to be doing a ton of $100, $50 drafts in these, leading all the way up to the year. I want to make sure that our process is sound, where I know a couple different ways that we can go, see if we can get any just tricks up our sleeve for later drafts. And yeah, we wanted to try this out. I'm really interested to see how this team build is going to look after we get just 4 or 5 more wide receivers in here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Make sure you stick to the end. And also, guys, we are going to be having another draft after this. And we're going to try to get 3 drafts in tonight. We're going to see how fast they're going. And we did 4 drafts last night, and it was just crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. So now we have Sterling Shepard going off the clock. Shepard would have been a wide receiver I really wanted to get in the 14th round. Does hurt to see him go. AJ Green as well. Both wide receivers that would have fit this team nicely, given the fact that we're just looking for guys playing snaps. We're looking for guys that are going to get on the field and could potentially pop off in a random week. Okay, so Ryan says, what do you think about Justin Herbert before Kyler Murray? Did Justin Herbert go before Kyler Murray in this draft? Okay, Justin Herbert went before Kyler Murray, and they did not have a stack to go with. You cannot take Justin Herbert before Kyler Murray. That is a very bad pick on multiple levels. I mean, if you draft an Austin Eckler in the first, if you draft Keenan Allen in the third, sure, go get your stack, go get Justin Herbert. Even then, I still think I prefer Kyler Murray. So yeah, I know. I don't like that pick. If you have the option between Kyler Murray and a Justin Herbert, you got to go with Kyler almost every time. Okay, so now some running backs going off the board. Thank God we have a quarterback going off with Deshaun Watson as well. That's what we're needing. Okay, Nathan comes out, says another night, another draft. I just hopped in and don't know how much the next draft's going to be. 5 or 50 or 100. We're definitely going to get some higher stakes drafts going, my man. It's going to mainly be down to what y'all want in the chat. I'm going to ask essentially when we're setting up the draft, do y'all want it to be a 50? Do y'all want it to be 100? And we'll work from there. Okay, so now at wide receiver, John Brown looks like a massive value in ADP, but like I said, guys, training camp reports, and this is actually what matters, trying to see how the personnel is going to be on the field. And it looks like you're actually having Bryan Edwards play over John Brown. So we are going to be going with Christian Kirk here, even though it says he's likely to be out a few days. Obviously, that's not going to have a massive impact for a veteran wide receiver by the time we get to the season. So yeah, we're going to go Christian Kirk in the 14th. Hopefully we get 4 more wide receivers we like after this. Okay, so XPub says, are we going to do a $25? No, we're not going to do a $25 draft tonight, my dudes. We're only going to be doing, we'll call it, I think it's very simple. If y'all want to get in some lower stakes drafts, that way we can just get some practice in. You can try some new stuff like I did in this one. We're going to be getting $5 drafts going very often in every single stream. We'll at least do one $5 draft. And then beyond that, I want to at least do one $50 or one $100 draft, depending on what y'all are wanting in the live chat, how many people we get out here. And of course, guys, if y'all drop a like on the stream, it helps us so much in getting people out here. Now, Zach with the donation says, 12-team dynasty at PPR. I have Lamar and Chase. Am I crazy for considering trading Lamar for Joe Burrow in a future second to get the Burrow and Chase stack? I don't think you're crazy for that consideration at all. Now, if this is a 6-point passing touchdown format, I would love to make that trade because you're expecting the passing volume with a Joe Burrow to be significantly higher, where the rushing is going to matter a little less in the case of Lamar Jackson. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, it is going to be closer, where I don't necessarily think it's a smash decision, but still you can consider it. Please let me know in the chat. You obviously don't need to make another donation. Again, you can spam this for me. Let me know if it's a 6-point or a 5-point passing touchdown league. Okay. So John Brown, maybe we take John Brown here. Like I said, he is running behind Bryan Edwards right now, which obviously is not something you want to see, but there are no other clear wide receivers that we would like. So not excited to take John Brown. We passed on him in round 13 and round 14 because of the Bryan Edwards news. But I think when he falls to round 15, this is where we actually kind of have to pull the trigger. So far with this team, guys, let me show it off real quick. Let me know your thoughts. Be brutally honest. Like I said, we were trying something new here. So we went Kamara at the 103. Love the pick. Waller at the 210. Love the pick. Don't think we could have gone anywhere else. Now, we do decide to go George Kittle at the 303, seeing if we can push tight ends up the board later on, seeing if we can get some wide receiver value falling to us. I don't necessarily think it worked out how it has when we push running back early and then soak up wide receivers late. So here, possibly we should have gone with the CD Lamb instead. We take Tyler Lockett at the 410, given a best ball format. You're looking for those spike weeks. Then we take Jacobs at the 503. I hate Mike Davis in fantasy. In the majority of leagues, I'm never going to be considering drafting Mike Davis because the problem is he usually goes in the beginning of the 5th round. But when he falls to the end of the 6th, I'm going to be reluctantly taking him. We get Russell Wilson here at the 703 to stack with Tyler Lockett. Darnell Mooney, we have to reach on a wide receiver here. It's either Darnell Mooney, Russell Gage, Rashad Bateman. Then we get A.J. Dillon for one of our running backs, Devontae Parker. James Conner is our last RB, Jalen Reagor. Matt Ryan is our last quarterback. And then we're just loading up on wide receivers from here on out because we desperately need a ton on this team after just getting crushed at the position and in a best ball format and in specifically underdog. You want to be strong at wide receiver. Okay, so Zach says 4-point passing TD, 6-point rushing TD. So Zach, I think there we definitely do prefer Lamar Jackson over Joe Burrow. If you could get a second, I think it's kind of a wash at that point, given the fact that, I mean, you are getting that correlation in your starting lineup. I don't necessarily want to tell you it's fantastic, but at the same token, I do understand wanting to go out there and make that move. Personally, I would make that trade, being willing to lose out on a little bit of dynasty value, but I'm very reluctant to ever tell someone to make a trade where I know they're losing out on dynasty value, because obviously that is extremely important to just continue to stack up. Okay, Self-Made says, thoughts on Nash's cash drafting for Buccaneers. Let's go through it. Let's check it. Okay, so he gets a Godwin, Evans at the 3-4 turn. He gets Antonio Brown. Does he... JN has gone from, okay, all JN needs to fix now is going through and drafting these guys like Donta Foreman in the 16th round. That's what you got to fix, JN, because beyond this, I mean, JN has went from someone that usually I could look at his drafts and go, okay, there are 5 things here that I think should get better. And like I said, I do the same thing with my drafts. I'm wrong all the time when we go through and we do such a high amount of drafts. And usually I could pick apart Jayen's draft, kind of, I don't want to say make fun of him, but mess with him a little bit and saying what I think could get better. But he has gotten so much better literally every single night. And I think it's probably because he's out here in these mock drafts every single night. And these aren't mock drafts. These are real money leagues. So you know people aren't timing out. You know people are taking it serious. And that's what's so good about Underdog Fantasy. You're not going to have to deal with people timing out of these drafts, and you can actually continue to improve as a drafter. I think Jayen shows that better than anybody. I mean, that was fantastic. I don't know if I like getting Gronk because you're just kind of overkill at that point. But, I mean, Gronk was there at ADP. Maybe he didn't even think about the stack when he drafted Gronk. But, I mean, just going out there and killing it. Okay, so Swizzy says, where's Devin Duvernay? Yeah, I think that's Jayen's problem. If he stopped taking Devin Duvernay, if he stopped taking D'Onta Foreman, if Jayen was not a University of Texas fan, then I think Jayen would be just next level. Okay, so Demarcus Robinson actually running behind Cornell Powell as of reports in camp lately. So I think Demarcus Robinson would have been a great pick in the 16th round if those reports had not come out. Now I think we kind of have to reevaluate that and try to figure out to go, okay, Demarcus Robinson goes anyway. Our guy, KJ Hamler, goes right before us. Of course I wanted KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler is our player. Oh my God, that sucks so bad. Allen Lazard would have been a pick, or Amari Rogers if Randall Cobb didn't come in. But now I actually think we have to make a pivot. I think we actually go to Dwayne Eskridge, given the fact that we did draft Russell Wilson in this draft. We have Tyler Lockett. We're getting that Seattle Seahawks stack built in. I don't love it. Trust me, KJ Hamler is in a completely different tier than Dwayne Eskridge for me. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that at all, to be honest. Okay. So now let's go through, and who else wanted to, Jayen wanted to make a bet on Devin Duvernay. My man, they give Sammy Watkins $8 million. They give Sammy Watkins $8 million. They draft Rashad Bateman in the first round. They go out there, they draft Tylan Wallace in the 4th round. I mean, you have Miles Boykin also was a 3rd round pick out of Notre Dame the year before Devin Duvernay got drafted from Texas. So there are just so many guys on that roster, not even to mention Hollywood Brown, not even to mention Mark Andrews. There's just no upside with Devin Duvernay at this point, as sad it is as it is to say. Like I said, guys, I mean, I actually graduated from the University of Texas just a few months ago. So I actually would see Devin Duvernay at the Rec quite often. And yeah, I'm not drafting him in fantasy ever. Okay, so we need wide receivers that are going to be playing snaps. We need wide receivers that could have a potential to see the spike week. We go through Allen Lazard. I think we take Van Jefferson here. I mean, Van Jefferson, a wide receiver that was a horrendous wide receiver prospect coming into last year's draft class. He still gets drafted in the 2nd round by LA. But what was surprising is Van Jefferson is hilariously old. This is a player that is older, I believe, than Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju was drafted in 2017 compared to Van Jefferson getting drafted in 2020. And he comes out, he was drafted that high because reports said, hell, this is someone that has perfected his route running tree. And you actually see that he doesn't do anything in year 1. Now, yes, they get rid of Josh Reynolds. Yes, they get rid of Gerald Everett. Yes, they get a quarterback upgrade. But I still don't necessarily like Van Jefferson. Possibly Nico Collins would have been a better bet. Please let me know what y'all think of that, because I'm not a Van Jefferson fan at all. This is the first time I've drafted him. Okay, so Mike says Jayen doesn't want to hear the Duvernay slander, Mason. Okay. Marlo says Watkins is not even safe to make the Ravens. Marlo, I will bet you any amount of money on the planet that Sammy Watkins is on the roster for the Baltimore Ravens week 1. I mean, let me pull up my phone real quick and see how much guaranteed money he's getting, because I know he signed an $8 million deal. Let me see how much of that's guaranteed. I'd imagine, given the fact that it's a 1-year deal, that it's a pretty big number with the guaranteed money. But let's look this up real quick, the Sammy Watkins contract, because if they signed him this offseason and they gave him $8 million, guys, do you realize that's the same price tag of a Will Fuller? That's the same price tag of a Juju Smith-Schuster. That's exactly what they got this past year. Okay, I actually, this is embarrassing. Marlo, I owe you an apology. I was wrong on the details. He still signs a very large contract, Well, I thought it was $8 million because that's what I remember it being reported. Usually I am proud of my just photogenic memory of numbers like that. It's 5 million. 5 million still more than John Brown. I mean, more than a ton of free agents this offseason. So that's embarrassing. I will admit that. We'll say that live on stream. It's fully guaranteed though. So I actually think that Sammy Watkins is a lock to be on the roster. Sammy Watkins, I promise you he's going to be. Okay. GDLT says, not a Van Jefferson fan. Tutu going to get some good run for the Rams over Jefferson. My man, I actually kind of agree with that with Tutu Atwell. I mean, Tutu Atwell, while yes, he weighs less than I do, I mean, that's a wide receiver that at least has speed where he can stretch the field. So yeah, possibly Tutu Atwell would have been the better call over Van Jefferson. But JN has, I mean, he had such a good draft before he gets to round 15. And then once we get to round 15, he has to just go out of his way to get as many University of Texas players as he possibly can. And then it just all falls apart. Dakota, my man, get out of here. Don't make me start saying Maximalize again. Don't make me start saying Maximalize again. Okay, so now we are going to be looking at wide receiver. Yet again, I actually think hopefully we get one guy that we are wanting to fall to us. Okay, there are two guys I'm fine with. I'm fine with Byron Pringle because he actually was, like we said, playing over Demarcus Robinson at camp. I'd have been fine with Adam Humphries as well because it sounds like Humphries is going to play the slot. But we're going to be drafting Pringle in the last round here. Now, this was a draft that I will tell you, if we have the option to draft two tight ends with Darren Waller and George Kittle again, we're not doing it. This did not turn out well. I hated it. Maybe it was our mistake of taking a Russell Wilson in the 7th round and overvaluing that stack. But let me show off the draft board one more time to show everybody how much of a mistake this was. Let's view the full draft real quick. That way we can all learn from my mistake right here at the 103. We can move on from it. Okay, so now let's scroll down to the bottom. So if you need to take a screenshot, if you need to look at it, you can. And now also we are going to be starting up a new draft right now, my dudes. That's going to be sent out in the live stream chat. So I really hope that everybody went through. They signed up with promo code FLOCK for Underdog, got their free $25. And now spam the chat right now. Do y'all want a $50 draft or a $100 draft? Because right now we're going to be either doing a $50 or a $100. And then at the end of the stream, we'll do another $5 draft for anybody to get in. But if you're wanting to participate in one of the big money drafts tonight, let me know if you're wanting the $50 or the $100 draft in the chat because I am setting it up right now. Nathan says he wants the $5, then the high stakes. No, we're going to do it. We're going to just kind of space it out a little bit. We're going to do 5, high stakes, 5. Okay, so DeAndre says 50. James says 100. Okay, so it's 1 for 50, 1 for 100. Let's see. Let's see them battle out in the chat real quick. Kevin says 100. Bunch of people spamming 5. Bunch of people spamming 50. Zach says 50. Jack says 50. Okay, so it looks like we are split. We are split. So what I'm going to do is, because we are going to be doing this every single night, and I don't want everybody to have to just continue to deposit over and over and over again on Underdog, we're going to do a $50 draft tonight. And then if we have an overwhelming amount of people wanting to do a $100 draft another night, then we can get a $100 draft going another night. But yeah, let me create a private draft real quick for a $50 league. I'm going to be sending it out in the live chat. I'm going to say, this is the $50 league. I will specify. And then after this, we'll do a $5 draft after we are done. But please, guys, drop a like on the live stream. Drop a like. It helps us out so much. And then Tanner out here saying maximalize. Yes, sir. Maximalize our chances of going up in the YouTube algorithm for anybody who's been around in the chat for a while now. Okay, so let me type in $50 draft here. Okay, so it looks like a bunch of people are spamming 100 now that we've already set up 50. So I'm sorry, guys. We're too far down this road. I have not an unlimited amount of time tonight. So we're sending out the $50 draft there. We sent it in the live chat. Let's see how fast that fills up. Maybe we need to send it in the Discord at the same time. But yeah, let's just see this together. Okay, Tanner says, use his link to sign up for Underdog for the draft guide. Oh yeah, big thing is, guys, if y'all don't know for whatever reason, I've only made an announcement. Okay, drop a like right now on the stream. Drop a like. Let's get the 101. Okay, y'all were way too slow to drop a like. We actually get the 110. I'm fine with the 110. We haven't drafted there that often. Get some more practice in a different spot. We've been mainly in this middle of the first round range. So going at the 110, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so yeah, I was going to say drop a like, help us get the 101, but it is what it is. And also, guys, if y'all have not heard for whatever reason, if you sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. What you get is you get a ton of things. You get a free $25 sign-up bonus. Because of the partnership that we have, you get our free 2020. Oh my God. This is how good of a deal it is. I can't even get through it. You get a 2021 draft guide to go along with that. Both a rookie draft guide based on the historical rates of what you're expecting rookies coming into the NFL, as well as applying that to this rookie class to talk about what rookies you want to be drafting. And at the same time, you get our entire 2021 draft guide, 2 in-depth pieces that honestly, I mean, you shouldn't be able to get for a $10 deposit on Underdog. And then on top of that, which is the most important thing of all, you get my love and affection to the moon and back. And not just to the moon when, I mean, it's a partial moon, to the full moon. Okay. All the love and affection going your way for using promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And at the same time, if we get 10,000 signups on Underdog with promo code FLOCK, we literally get about 25,000 views in a day. So this should be no problem in theory. I will go get a custom made Flock costume where we will wear that to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Underdog has agreed if we get 10,000 signups that they are going to be buying the tickets for 4 or 5 members of the Flock to come out to the game with us. Then we're going to host a Tampa Bay meetup after that game where I'll wear the costume, meet everybody. We're going to do the meetup no matter what, but it will be a lot of fun if we hit 10,000. Okay, so no, guys, this is a half PPR for everybody asking in the chat right now. Scenic City Collectibles out again for another live stream. D. Larso says, Mason trying over and over to get the #1 pick. The Bears trading up for a franchise quarterback every other year. My man, that is pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Okay, so let me, okay, I should not have sent that out. Let me delete that real quick. Let me delete that real quick. Oh, that would have been bad. Okay, so let me go through and move that over. Send out our link to the next draft in the thing. If anybody wants to sign up with promo code FLOCK, that way they can get in our next private draft. Okay, so now we have a very standard start to this draft where you see the big 3 go off. I'm sorry, actually, you have Derrick Henry going at the 103. I know that's what you're seeing the majority of the times, but Party Till She's Hot takes Davante Adams at the 104 over Alvin Kamara. I really want to move Davante Adams to the 103. A big reason I'm not moving Davante Adams to the 103 is because we already adjusted the rankings and moved him up to the 104, and we're already significantly ahead of consensus on Davante Adams, where the majority of drafts, you're actually seeing him go off in the 108, 109 range. But the more I think about it, the more I want to put Davante Adams over Alvin Kamara. He's easily over Derrick Henry for me. Now, Zeke, Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Okay, so I think we're going to get a player that we're very excited to draft at the 10th pick. Let's see what Dab K decides to do. So he goes Aaron Jones. We get Saquon Barkley with the 10th pick. I understand, guys, Saquon Barkley, you have the injury concern. Personally, I'm a little bit more concerned about the fact that you're looking at him as a running back that's playing on a very bad team with a very bad offensive line. But still, I'm going to stand by the fact that I think that Saquon Barkley actually has a higher ceiling than the majority of running backs going in this range, given his usage in the receiving game and the talent of a running back that he is. Okay, so Eckler, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb. Okay, also let me give some shout outs to the people subscribing to the channel once we are done with this next pick. Okay, so we are going to be, we're not looking quarterback, we're not looking tight end. It's either a running back or a wide receiver here. Now, Jonathan Taylor, before the injury to Quentin Nelson, would have been my selection here, but Quentin Nelson going down significantly hurts Jonathan Taylor, in my opinion. So now I think that we probably look to go with either Calvin Ridley or Antonio Gibson, whoever falls to us. So I think we actually look to, what I really like to do in these drafts as of late is I've been really enjoying our starts where we go running back heavy. And we haven't had the chance to draft Antonio Gibson because we haven't been drafting in the late first that often. We've been drafting in the middle a lot by the time Antonio Gibson's already off the board. So we're going to start this draft of Barkley and Antonio Gibson, chasing that upside with athletic running backs that are great pass catchers. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about that. My other selection would have been Calvin Ridley. Jonathan Taylor for me with the Carson Wentz and with the Quentin Nelson injury is falling to the 207 in my rankings. Wasn't considering him with that selection, but let me know what y'all think of Antonio Gibson there. And let me give some shout outs to people subscribing to the channel. We got Zachary, we have Malik, Sean, the Monks, Luis, Anthony, who else has subscribed? Bryce, Iggy, Frosty, Michael, Saf, Jack, Azoda, Sheriff, Max. Thank you all so much for subscribing. Douglas, Ryan, Jacob. Guys, we passed 27,000 subscribers, and we did that yesterday. We're probably going to pass 28,000 subscribers maybe tomorrow or in 2 days. This channel is growing so fast, and that's 100% because of everybody that's been dropping likes, leaving comments, and we are about to get a massive studio upgrade yet again. And that's because of the partnership that we have with Underdog Fantasy, with y'all using promo code FLOCK on their platform. So thank you, everybody. Okay. So now Paul says, is this a $50 or $100 draft? This was a $50 draft. You know what? If this live stream gets over, I know I said we were only going to do 3 drafts today. If this live stream gets over, let's call it 500 likes. The live stream yesterday got over 500 likes. So what we did is we did 4 drafts instead of 2. So now I've already committed to do 3 drafts. So if this live stream gets over 500 likes, we will actually go through and do 4 drafts. Now we have a lot of time to get there. So hopefully we start to climb slowly but surely. But yeah, let's see where we get, and let's see what the demand is like it for tonight. Okay, Jameson says, Najee, number 1 running back this year. My problem with Najee Harris is that's just a running back that you're actually finding playing behind a very bad offensive line. Like we already talked about with Saquon Barkley, but the difference between Harris and Barkley is I just think that Barkley is a completely different level of a running back. If you look at their prospect profiles, if you look at their athleticism, also Barkley was a much better pass catcher in college. So yeah, I think that Najee Harris is in a pretty bad situation with his offensive line. I'm still fine taking him in the 2nd round. I probably would prefer him slightly behind Jonathan Taylor. But yeah, I think that with Najee Harris, he doesn't have access to top 3 upside, to be completely honest. Okay, Nathan says 4 drafts. Yes, sir. We'll do 4 drafts if we hit 500 likes on the live stream. Andy says, just joining. What's the buy-in here? This buy-in is $50. And what we'll do is if we hit 500 likes on the live stream, this will be a $50 draft. Our next one will be a $50 draft. And our last one will be a $5 draft. That's how we can break it down. Okay, so DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire falling all the way to the 303. That is a fantastic selection of CEH. I would have actually taken him there before any of those wide receivers went off the board. So the fact that you get him at the 303 is kind of ridiculous. I mean, if I was a Dalvin Cook team, I would have been taking him there at the 302. I understand if you draft Christian McCaffrey, you don't necessarily feel the need to go out there and get a running back like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So yeah, that is very, very interesting. Okay. So now let's go down, see. Marlo says, I'm starting to like Adams at the 104. Hey, we're starting to transition Marlo into a good fantasy football player, my dudes. I'm happy to see it. I'm very happy to see it. Selfmade says, Lamb skyrocketing up draft boards. Yeah, and that's what I've already said. I mean, with CeeDee Lamb, what's going to be really funny is with Hard Knocks, if we actually find that Amari Cooper is not getting much screen time because of the injury, and if all of a sudden CeeDee Lamb is just on the screen constantly, what do you find every single offseason? Are there going to be wide receivers like a Bryan Edwards last year that are starting to skyrocket up draft boards? Evan says, anyway, if we use your code already, we have the count. Got to count towards that 10,000. No, I'm sorry. If you want to count towards the 10,000 in terms of getting us to our goal, that's going to be just for people who have not used the code before. Okay, so at the 310, I really want to start with a 4 running back start again. But to be completely honest, I don't think we... Let me see. I really want to go 4 running backs to start this draft off. I would have loved to see J.K. Dobbins fall to us at the 310. Okay, so Carson goes. Okay, if Carson was going to fall to us, I would have considered drafting 4 running backs to start off, then only hammering in wide receivers after that. Now we are going to get our guy, Robert Woods. Y'all know how high I am on Robert Woods. He's actually my wide receiver 11 in fantasy drafts this year. And I know he's been flying up the draft board for a lot of other people. We used to be getting him back in the late 4th round, which was absolute ridiculous value. And I think I'm still fine taking him here at the 310. Okay. Jake says, I think Calvin Ridley will bust this year, like Juju without Antonio Brown. My man, we've actually already seen Calvin Ridley be very successful without Julio Jones. I'm not drawing that comparison at all. Okay, so David Montgomery at the 312. DJ Moore at the 401. I would have liked to see DJ Moore fall to us. And now here, I know a lot of people are probably going to be screaming at me to take Patrick Mahomes. And trust me, if we would have started this draft off with a Tyreek Hill, a Travis Kelce, a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'd be fine reaching on elite quarterback to get a stack. But we've already made the rule for ourselves. We're not reaching on an elite quarterback unless it completes a stack that we like. And here our only stack options so far are Matthew Stafford. I mean, even with those running backs, I'm not even getting excited about the stack. So we are going to go with a Mike Evans here. So this start, I actually really like it so far. We go Saquon Barkley, Antonio Gibson, Robert Woods, and Mike Evans. Please let me know what y'all think about those first 4 picks. Okay, and I know I've said this a million times before, guys, but counting up how many signups we're getting on Flock, I actually think we can hit to that 10,000 goal. And there's no reason why we can't when you're getting a free $25 to sign up with promo code Flock. Why we've already gone through and talked about why this is the #1 platform for actually getting you better at fantasy football in 2021. And if you don't have your own fantasy football draft for a couple weeks, the #1 thing that you can do is go deposit $10 on Underdog with promo code Flock, get our draft guide, become a better fantasy football player that way for this season. On top of that, you get the practice of getting in real drafts that you don't have to go through and manage throughout the year. You can focus in on the leagues that you care about when you get closer to the year, but you're going to be so much better in those leagues that you care about if you use promo code Flock on Underdog. You actually went through and got that practice in, because we do some quick math. If you're getting a free $25 bonus with promo code Flock on a $10 deposit, you're having $35 to play with. They have $3 drafts that people don't auto draft in because they have some money attached to it. So you're getting to practice in about 11 drafts. You can pick from every single range of the entire board and be comfortable for your upcoming draft, because if you're drafting against a computer, my dudes, you're not doing yourself any favors. If you're drafting against a computer, that is literally just wasting your time. You don't want to be going up against auto picks. You don't want to be going up against a computer that thinks it knows what it's going to do, because, I mean, really, it never does. Logan says, I don't know how dudes don't take 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds. Shake my head. My man, hey, we went out there, we took Barkley and Antonio Gibson to start this draft off. So I know those running back fiends are going to love this draft. I almost considered going with a Chris Carson at the 309 if he was going to fall to us, and we would have tried to push up the running backs in this draft. I really liked what happened in a draft that we did last night. So this one, we didn't end up doing that just because Carson goes right before. I'm not taking David Montgomery over Robert Woods. So yeah, let me know what y'all think of this start with Barkley, Gibson, Robert Woods, and Mike Evans. Now, if we go through, look at any intriguing starts here, Parabrain actually has Zeke, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and he takes Cooper Kupp as his first wide receiver. So he goes running back heavy. And then beyond that, here, Jack goes Austin Eckler in the first. Then he's slamming in wide receivers after that. Usually that's my preferred draft strategy. And I bet you once we get closer to the year, I'm going to be doing a lot of heavy running back in the first, then wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. I think that's almost optimal. Now, we're going to change it up a little bit when we have the opportunity to take in Antonio Gibson at the 203 and to Saquon Barkley at the 110. But yeah, I think that this draft has gone well for us so far, but this is usually my favorite draft strategy, is running back early, then hammer in wide receivers directly after. Okay, so Dakota says, Mason, do you think CMC should always go at the 101 in a non-PPR redraft, or is there a discussion for Cook because of how he's played and produced the last 2 years? No, it's Christian McCaffrey, regardless. I actually think Derrick Henry becomes very, very intriguing in a non-PPR format, but Christian McCaffrey could go out there and he could just crush everybody, crush the field in total yards, given what he's getting in the receiving game as well. So yeah, no, it's still CMC. Okay, Damani coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says, I was offered Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jalen Waddle for Joe Mixon and Elijah Moore. Waddle's upside is intriguing, but I think Mixon could finish as a running back 1. Thoughts? Damani, could you please let me know if this is a dynasty or a redraft league? Please don't feel the need to donate again. Just spam it in the live chat. Dynasty or redraft. Copy and paste. Nobody that's a mod, mute Diami, because obviously he needs to let me know this. Please let me know if it's dynasty or redraft, because that is going to affect my answer. And actually, now that we read this out loud, I think I know my answer regardless. Okay, but let me see it, because it will help my explanation a lot. Okay, so we are going to be on the clock. Let me make these next 2 picks, then I'll go back to the live chat. This is a $50 draft, so I really have to be focusing more so on the draft board compared to the live chat with what we usually do. Okay, so Deontay Johnson goes to the 508. So let me read this Kenny Golladay injury report. Okay, so he didn't need help off the field, but obviously you hate Kenny Golladay already dealing with an injury this year. I mean, that's just one of the, I think we pass on Kenny Golladay, to be completely honest, at the 5'10". just because it's not a good sign. I mean, maybe I'm just going through and looking at it like with some voodoo eyes right now, but I don't think I can take a Kenny Golladay there. D-back actually gets Golladay. So now I think what we do is, given the fact that we don't have a stack that we're looking for with one of these quarterbacks, instead we're just going to go with a wide receiver. I'm fine with one of those tight ends falling back to us. We're going to go Chase Claypool here as our third wide receiver, someone that does have a ton of upside in a format like this. I think he is very appealing, and that you could see him have those spike weeks when you don't have to submit your starting lineup on a week-to-week basis. Now, Lamar Jackson does go at the 5'11". Okay, so Jack here really getting a start where he doesn't care too much about the running back position. Not faulting him. I don't necessarily think a running back was a great value in that range or anything, but still just want to point this out, because when we're having to make picks going into this turn, we need to make sure that we know what teams here need what. So Andrews goes, maybe Jack decides to go with a TJ Hawkinson here. Let's see the best available. If he goes Hawkinson, we go Robbie Anderson. If he goes Robbie Anderson, we go TJ Hawkinson. It's going to be a very easy pick. It's really just up to him on deciding what he wants. Maybe he goes Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt. Okay, so he goes Kareem Hunt. So I think here we actually go TJ Hawkinson, to be honest. And this is going to be a very balanced start for us. I possibly would have considered going Kareem Hunt actually with that team. But anyway, let me pull up the draft board. Let me make sure everybody can see it. Okay, people can see it. Let's go back to the chat. Let's look at Damani's team real quick. Okay, so Jayan, let me view this. Okay, so he says it's a redraft league. Okay, so for a redraft league, I do slightly have, I don't even know if I have Mixon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire one spot higher, but they're in the same tier for me. I think we can really overlook that. And between Waddle and Elijah Moore, I actually prefer Jalen Waddle slightly. So I'm going to go with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jalen Waddle side, but it is so close, my man. You're just moving tier by tier, not necessarily making any massive jumps or changing your roster construction that much. So I'm going to be going CEH, but it's not a massive change. Now, Nathan comes out with a donation, says, should have gone Cup. I always get that double stack at around the 3-4 turn in Stafford later on. Okay, so where did he, okay, so Nathan, where are you, my man? What name are you in this live chat right now? I'm sorry, in the draft right now. Okay, Luke says, are you worried about Saquon Barkley missing games early? So I'm not worried about Barkley missing games early. I would be worried about him being on a slight snap count, but at the end of the day, when we're drafting him at the 110, I think that the risk is already baked into that, because if you told everybody that Saquon Barkley was 100% healthy coming into this year, Barkley is going to be a running back that's going at the 103. So we're already getting a significant injury discount and being able to draft him at the 110, so we are going to be fine with that. Okay, so Nathan, let me know, because I know your name's Nate Beer, but I don't see it on here. Let me know if I'm missing something. Okay, so after we go Hawkinson, we got Robbie Anderson, Odell, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Chark. Okay, so you have those wide receivers going off the board, but we drafted 3 wide receivers in rounds 3 through 5, so I don't necessarily think we need to reach on a guy there. And when we take Hawkinson in the 6th, it does set us up nicely from a roster construction standpoint, and that's really going to be our main tight end that we're drafting. We'll just get one more later on, maybe a Logan Thomas, maybe an Irv Smith Jr. Really just depends on what falls to us. Now, also, guys, like I said, we are going to be planning on doing 3 drafts tonight, but if this live stream does get over 500 likes, then we'll do a 4th. So it's really just up to y'all to show me kind of the demand that we have for a 4th draft. This is our 2nd, so we're going to do another draft after this no matter what. We're planning on doing another $5 draft, so we've gone $5.55, but if it looks like we're going to do 4, we're also going to throw another $50 draft in there. Liam says the CeeDee Lamb hype has gone too far at the 211. Yeah, guys, I don't like CeeDee Lamb at the 211. I will admit that. I think you have to go A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson over him. I'm kind of fine if you want to take CeeDee Lamb over Keenan Allen if you're really feeling strong about it. But yeah, I think you do have to go A.J. Brown. You have to go Justin Jefferson. Lamb at the 211 is a little rich for me. Okay, Masked Enigma says, I love Team 8. Okay, so Team 8 goes Hill, Mixon, Dobbins, Mahomes. Okay, so yeah, Zachary is killing this draft. Zachary has had a fantastic draft here. Congrats, my man. Okay, so we have some more wide receivers going off the board with Laviska Shenault and Antonio Brown right here. Let me know if y'all can see the entire board. Okay, we're probably just going to need to scroll this up slightly. Okay, so Boyd at the 703. And honestly, I don't even really care what falls to us right now. I mean, quarterbacks, options to stack. We're going to have a Stafford. We're going to have a Tom Brady. Ben Roethlisberger, maybe we get at the very end. Really, there's no quarterback that I'm trying to jump out of my chair to draft in the 7th or 8th round, to be completely honest. So I think we mainly just want to see what falls to us. Okay, so Nathan was saying that he was talking about our team. So he was saying that we should have gone with the Cooper Kupp to get the double stack with Robert Woods. My man, I think that you honestly could be right about that. I think that was maybe a mistake that I made. Let's see what price Matthew Stafford goes at in this draft, and I think that would be really telling on if we missed out on a massive opportunity to get that double stack in. Okay, so Russell Wilson at the 705. We ended up taking Russell Wilson at the 703 in the draft right before this. Okay, so Trey Sermon at the 706. Let's see where we are going to be going. Okay, so looks like Courtland Sutton just in a free fall in all these drafts, which honestly he should be, to be completely honest. Now Curtis Samuel, Damian Harris. I'm not going to be... I need to shut my mouth real quick. We're at the 710. We have a couple more picks before ours. I don't want to be getting sniped out here. Okay, so Juju, our guy, of course, Zach has to take him right before us at the 707. I would have loved to get Juju Smith-Schuster there. Okay, so here, let's see what we're going to get at the 710. The problem is Sutton and Devonta Smith dealing with injuries at the moment. They are, according to ADP, the best players available, but I don't even really like Courtland Sutton to begin with. I mean, Courtland Sutton, I hated his price so much when he was like a 5th, 6th round pick. Obviously, he's falling here. Okay, I think Dab K may actually be auto drafting. There's a small chance he's on auto. If he's on auto, we definitely need to take a note of that. This is a $50 draft, my dudes. If he's on auto, I'm not even upset. I'm happy that he's on auto. Here we take Devonta Smith just because he's a massive value. Now, of course, we are a little concerned with the injury, but Justin Herbert would have been a fine selection there if we ended up going with an Austin Eckler in the 1st or 2nd round, and we could have got that stack in there. But I really want to make sure that we're getting those elite quarterbacks on teams where they have their top options. So we take Smith at the 710. Let me know what y'all think of that value. Let me know if you think that's a little too early. Okay, so also let me see Dab. Okay, so he's gone wide receiver. Looks like hopefully they just kind of killed the team due to an auto draft. I mean due to a roster construction standpoint. But we are going to be up again. I still don't think that we can consider Justin Herbert, to be honest. Okay, so Hollywood Brown goes. I think that we're going to continue to hit the wide receiver position. If we had a Zach Ertz trade officially, I could reach a little bit on a Dallas Goedert here, but I think instead we actually go with a Brandon Cooks, a wide receiver that should be the wide receiver 1 for the Houston Texans. Yes, a horrendous situation, but in the 8th round as our 5th wide receiver. Let me recap my team so far. I actually really like this team with what we have. Okay, so let's hide that. At running back, we have Barkley and Antonio Gibson. At wide receiver, we have Robert Woods, Mike Evans, Chase Claypool, Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks. Remember, this is a best ball format, so we're not going to have to actually go out of our way and choose exactly who we're starting. Just the highest scoring wide receivers automatically slide into our starting lineup. And then at tight end, we do have TJ Hawkinson. So let me know what y'all think about that start. I think this is the first TJ Hawkinson team that we've actually drafted. I mean, he is in that range of tight ends that historically have been really bad bets. I think that we actually prefer getting a Dallas Goedert 2 or 3 rounds after. But anyway, Hawkinson, I mean, he's been going in the 5th round a lot. I prefer him over Kyle Pitts. So when we're going to get him in the 6th round, I am fine with that value. You know what I just realized I forgot to do? I forgot to send an Underdog link out and pin it in the top chat. So let me go through and let me fix that right now. And we passed 300 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. Like I said, we are going to be doing another draft after this, guaranteed. And if we get 500 likes on the live stream, we'll be doing a 4th draft. So we're at least going to do one more draft. Then we're going to do another $5 draft guaranteed. And if we get 500 likes on the live stream like we did last night, then we'll do another $50 draft as well. Okay, Daniel says, what do you think about my start? I'm at the 1 spot. My man, I am sorry. I'm not going to be able to scroll up right now. I'm actually having to charge the mouse so I can have access to the stream later on. So we'll check it out in a second. Dallas Goedert does go at the 710. Now, he goes after a decent amount of wide receivers. Mecole Hardman definitely sliding up now that people finally realize that Mecole Hardman's going to be the wide receiver 2 on the Kansas City Chiefs. That's something that people should have realized I don't know how long ago. So it is beyond me why Mecole Hardman's finally starting to slide up in fantasy drafts. But still, I mean, at the 805, I think it's okay value. Zachary is doing a really good job in this draft. He does get the Mecole Hardman stack with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. I didn't even see that. Okay, so now A.J. Dillon at the 812. After a couple of quarterbacks go off the board, we have yet to draft a QB on this team. So if we can get a guy that we like at a value, of course, we're going to go out there and do so. And there are a ton of intriguing stack options that we are actually going to have. Okay, so Darnell Mooney at the 902, Tyler Higbee at the 903. Okay, so it looks like Tan Solo, did he draft 3 tight ends in this league? I think, I'm going to unplug the mouse because I have to see this real quick. Okay, so yeah, he took Kittle in the second. No, okay, I'm sorry. He didn't take Kittle in the second. I thought he took Kittle in the second, then took Dallas Goedert and Tyler Higbee there. I was going to say that's a very bad start, but I mean, I guess if they're going to be your first and second tight end, we are fine with that. Yeah, Zach, that was a fantastic pick, my man. Tommy says, as a Chiefs fan, I have no faith in Mecole Hardman. Guys, Mecole Hardman, back when he was playing for Georgia, he was actually recruited as a defensive back. That was a wide receiver that was extremely raw. He was drafted purely based on his athleticism, not someone that you're expecting to be someone that's productive right away at the NFL level. So please don't give up on Mecole Hardman. He's going into year 3. This is when you expect the wide receivers to take a massive jump up that are a little more raw, a little less polished. So yeah, I think that Mecole Hardman actually very, very intriguing this year. We've been on him for a very long time now. And now that his price is up in the 8th, I think we kind of have to reevaluate our stance. It's not as easy as just me saying, go draft Mecole Hardman everywhere you can. So yeah, I definitely want to reevaluate where we stand on him. But I mean, on the top of my head, I think it's an okay price. Okay. So at the 9-10 here, let's figure out where we are going to be going. So Zach Moss goes off the board. Running back now, I don't really think we consider another running back here. I think it really comes down to, I'm not going out of my way to draft Tom Brady. I just can't. I think if we draft the Noah Fant here, we're done at tight end. We're going to draft Noah Fant. I'm a massive fan of Noah Fant. I mean, I think that out of all the players in Denver that are pass catchers, obviously that is a very crowded situation with a very bad quarterback. I think Noah Fant's actually the best value given the fact that he's at a position that's a lot harder to find production at. And at the same time, you're getting him rounds after both Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton are going. So yeah, I think that Noah Fant there, when we're done with the tight end position after TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant. And guys, if y'all didn't know, TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant, they were actually both teammates at Iowa. If you were following college football for a very long time, Noah Fant was on the dynasty/fantasy football community's radar way before TJ Hawkinson was. TJ Hawkinson actually kind of broke out their true junior year. And then all of a sudden, Hawkinson goes in the top 10, given his blocking ability. But Noah Fant was the guy that people were drooling about for years. Okay, so Logan Thomas goes. Of course, after we go tight end, we are trying to see some more go off the board. Now that we are going to be back on the clock, do we have to draft Brady here? I really don't like drafting Tom Brady. It literally is no rushing upside in the slightest. We have 5 wide receivers, though. I think we have to draft Tom Brady. It is what it is. Mainly I'm doing so because we have Mike Evans and he is the best value available, getting him in the 10th round there. I definitely prefer having Matthew Stafford over Tom Brady, but I don't regret our decision of taking Noah Fant before them. So let me know what y'all think about that. Tom Brady, I'm just so reluctant to draft him in a league where you only get 4 points per passing touchdown. So let me know what y'all are thinking about that. Okay, also we have 329 likes on this live stream. Like I said, guys, if we get to 500 likes in probably it's going to be about an hour, given the fact that we still have an entire draft to do. We're going to be doing an extra draft tonight. We're guaranteeing 3 drafts tonight. And if we hit 500 likes, we are going to be doing 4 drafts tonight. Joe says, yo, finally catching the stream. What up? Are you doing another? Yes, sir. Just make sure you sign up for Underdog with promo code FLOCK. Get your free $25 bonus. Get our 2021 draft guide at the same time. Help us reach our goal of 10,000 Flock signups on Underdog. That way we buy tickets for people to come out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with us. I get a custom-made mascot uniform for the Flock, and we make an entire vlog out of it. We also go through, set up a Flock meetup in Tampa, Florida. That way everybody can come out. We'll have the costume there. It'll be a lot of fun. It will be a massive, massive vlog. And Underdog is sponsoring all of it. It's all possible by Underdog. That's why y'all have to make sure you're going over to Underdog using promo code FLOCK, making a $10 deposit. Okay, so Burrow does go at the 10:06. Mike Gesicki at the 10:07. Like I said, guys, once we have Hawkinson in the 6th and Noah Fant at the end of the 9th, we are wanting to make sure that we see more tight ends go off the board. The more tight ends that get drafted, the better for us, because that means we're going to get wide receiver value later on. Dakota says, Mason, wouldn't you want to draft a quarterback who throws more passing TDs in a 4-point lead because you're getting more volume? No, it's the exact opposite. In a 4-point passing touchdown league, because you're less incentivized for the passing touchdowns compared to rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, I actually prefer to get a Lamar Jackson, a Jalen Hurts. We actually talk about it a lot in the draft guide where I go through and I break down the exact statistics for people to make an adjustment from a 6-point to a 4-point passing touchdown format. That's the thing that I am most proud about with that draft guide, to be completely honest, because of course we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of player evaluation. But beyond that, what I'm most proud about is I represent in data exactly how to be adjusting fantasy football rankings and adjusting your fantasy strategy based on every variable that you're going to find in your league. Because the worst thing that people don't understand in fantasy football is that it's a game and you need to be optimizing your roster for your league settings. So you need to know how adding an extra flex spot makes an impact for your overall strategy. You need to know how going through and changing from a 12-team league to a 10-team league changes your strategy. You need to know how changing it from a PPR format to a half PPR format changes your strategy. You need to know what changing from a 1 quarterback to a Superflex league does. We laid all of that out in our draft guide. Like I said, most people are charging like $60 for their draft guide. I think mine's probably better than it based on that research that we've done. And it's $10. It's a $10 deposit on Underdog. You get a $25 bonus with promo code FLOCK. So I'm essentially paying you $15 to take my draft guide. And if you don't take advantage, I'm going to be pissed, to be completely honest. Okay, Red says, any dynasty drafts tonight? No, sir. We actually announced a dynasty league starting up over there on our Patreon channel, but I believe it doesn't start till the 7th. Yeah, and that league's already full. We're going to do a lot more dynasty drafts this offseason. Don't worry about that, but that's all going to be through Patreon. It's not going to be on this channel. Okay, Antoine says, I know Mike Davis will be good this year, but Brandon Ayuk will be good in the future, I feel. Oh, yeah, definitely. Brandon Ayuk, a second-year wide receiver coming out of Arizona State. That's someone that you're going to expect to continue to improve, especially when you look at Trey Lance and how he's actually throwing the ball aggressively downfield, how that actually lines up more with the average depth of target for Brandon Ayuk than it does with Deebo Samuel. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is going to be a very good wide receiver for 6 years. If you look at Mike Davis and his age, he's a 1-year rental running back. You're only getting him for 2021. Mike Davis, I promise you, he's not going to be a top 10 round draft pick next year. Okay, so now we are going to be in the 11th round. We've drafted 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. So at the 11-10, I think there's a player that is a screaming value for us here. Please fall. Adam Troutman goes, we get our guy, Kenyon Drake. I love Kenyon Drake. Gets $11 million guaranteed this offseason. You do not see that type of running back money getting tossed around. James Conner actually only got $1.75 million. This tells us that Kenyon Drake is going to have a role on the Las Vegas Raiders offense. We have seen that they don't want to use Josh Jacobs in the receiving game. So getting Kenyon Drake here at the 11-10, I actually think is a fantastic, fantastic pick. Okay, so now we have Latavius Murray, Traquan Smith going directly afterwards. And we passed 350 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. Now let's pull this back up. I don't want to go Fields. We don't have any stack potential with Fields. We can really go running back or wide receiver here. Possibly get... I think based on the wide receivers that we have and how they are extremely talented, I'm going to reach a little bit. I'm going to get someone with a higher ceiling because we already have Woods, we already have Evans, we already have Claypool, Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks. I'm comfortable with the floor that we have from this wide receiver room. So I think it makes a little bit more sense to go get a big-bodied alpha wide receiver coming out of TCU. While Terrace Marshall was not that productive in 2018 as a true freshman, you have to understand. I mean, he was 18 years old. He was playing on an offense that had both Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in it. And in 2019, Terrace Marshall was actually extremely productive, even with both Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase being there when he was healthy. And then in 2020, when obviously Jefferson was playing for the Vikings, Jamar Chase opts out due to COVID. Terrace Marshall comes out, burst onto the scene, was a fantastic, fantastic player for the Tigers. And then he destroys the NFL Combine. Love getting him here at the 1203. Okay, Cletus says, any chance you can scroll to the top? Yes, sir. Let me show off the draft board real quick. So anybody who is just now joining, guys, please remind me to do this more often in the live streams because I know that people join frequently and they want to see the entire board with how it went. And also, we have some new people subscribing to the channel. We have Danny, Cletus, Caleb. Thank you so much. We have Hungry, Crafty, Zachary, Malik. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel. Okay. And now let's pull this back up. Baker Mayfield going. So Justin Fields is still available. Interesting to see Baker Mayfield get drafted before Justin Fields when we know that Justin Fields has more rushing upside. Again, Michael says, I really like your team. Not sure on Philly. So I'm assuming you're talking about Philadelphia because we took Devonta Smith. I mean, I think Smith at the end of the 7th round, honestly, perfectly fine value. You're seeing him go at the beginning of the 7th round and of the 6th round in a lot of drafts. Okay, so Justin Fields at the 12-11. Cletus saying, thank you, my man. No, my man, thank you so much coming out for the live stream. And if you have already, thank you so much for depositing $10 on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. Nothing helps out this channel more. Jameson says, who's your favorite NFL team? Guys, I've said this like a million times, but I'll say it again. I don't have a favorite NFL team. Like literally when I watch football, the only thing I'm looking at are certain players that I like. I really could not care less who wins the game. Usually I kind of root for the team that's losing because I want a more competitive game. Now, I will say there are some teams that I actively root against, but that's kind of besides the point. But here, I actually used to be a fan of the Houston Texans way back in the days when they had Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson. But I really dove into prospect evaluation when we joined our first Dynasty League in 2014. I was hooked automatically and we became a high volume Dynasty fantasy football player where I just thought about football and rookies coming into the league 365 days a year, all day long. So since that happened, literally it was like a flip of a switch where I go, okay, I don't really care about the Texans anymore. And then if you would have asked me, I mean, Mason, how many times have the Texans made the playoffs in the past 5 years? I would just be guessing. I would have literally no idea. Okay, so Devin Singletary at the 1304. AJ Green at the 1305. Okay, Masked Enigma says, we need to know the team Mason hates. Honestly, it's not more so that I root against a certain team. It's more so that I'll root against players that I don't have in fantasy. And I know that kind of sounds dumb, but like say last year, I mean, I really did not have Kenyon Drake at all. So I was actively going out there and rooting against Kenyon Drake. Now, I did have Kyler Murray, so it was a little bit of a conflict of interest. But whenever he was vulturing those touchdowns at the goal line, it was a happy day. Okay, so now we're sitting here. I think we can go with another wide receiver if we want. We can't go tight end. I mean, when we take Hockenson and Noah Fant that high, we're kind of committing to a two tight end start. We really wanted Nelson Aguilar falling to us at the 13-10. So now with the good news that Bryan Edwards is actually playing over John Brown in training camp, that's news you need to be looking for. You need to be looking for usage news. We are going to be taking him as our wide receiver 7. Now, we only have 3 running backs, so we are going to have to draft 2 more running backs in this team once we kind of punt the position this far down. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think of that Bryan Edwards pick, but there's some great news coming about how he's actually going to get used in that Raiders offense. I love Paris Campbell, but a big thing is just the overall offense looks like it's going to be a whole lot worse at the beginning of the year. Okay, so Mendez says, is there another draft tonight? Looking to jump in it. Yes, sir, there's going to be another draft tonight. There's actually going to be 2 more drafts tonight if we hit 500 likes in the live stream. Okay, Boggo says, okay, man, I'll get to your donation in 1 second. Thank you so much for donating to the channel, but we got to make sure we're getting this draft pick in here. Okay, so Jack Hattie is about to be up. He's taken 8 wide receivers, so possibly he looks to, I can say it because I think there's a little lag. Okay, he goes Daniel Jones. So we get Nyheim Hines. I actually really like getting Nyheim Hines here as our 4th running back. I know that Quentin Nelson goes down, hurts the overall offensive line, but at the same time, what you're actually going to be finding is you're going to find that I think that this offense may be playing from behind a little more often if this team's worse overall. So maybe that leads to more 2-minute drills. Maybe that leads to more snaps from Nyheim Hines. I do like getting him there at the 1403. And Hines is the perfect player for best ball when you don't necessarily need to know when he's going to pop off to put him in your starting lineup. Okay, so Boggo says, hey, Mason, I'm thinking about offering a trade. I have Cam Akers in my 12-team keeper league. I thought of offering Ayuk for Kareem Hunt. What are your thoughts? Okay, man, it's really going to depend on how many keepers that you're keeping because I think that if you are desperate for a running back, I'm fine trading Brandon Ayuk for Kareem Hunt. But that's going to be mainly for a redraft league. So maybe if you're keeping 5 or less players where that's about the range where I want to be treating a league like it's just a redraft, not necessarily caring about the long term. But if you're talking about a keeper league where possibly you're keeping 9, 10 or plus players, there I start to want to kind of treat it a little bit more like a dynasty. And there I would actually prefer the long-term value of a Brandon Ayuk. So I'll say if you have 5 keepers or less, I'm fine with you going up and paying for Kareem Hunt, given the fact that you may need a running back right now. But if you have, just say, in the range of 8, 9, 10 keepers, then I want to be keeping Brandon Ayuk for his long-term value. Okay, so now let's go through. Michael says, thoughts on Chase Claypool. I think for a format like this on Underdog, Chase Claypool is the perfect wide receiver in that he does have an elite ceiling. The problem is we need to see how many targets he's going to get this upcoming year, because if he can steal those targets away from Deontay Johnson, like I think he potentially can do, given the fact that he was extremely efficient in year 1 and Deontay Johnson wasn't, I think that he's actually in for a very exciting season. I mean, but he needs those targets to do so, of course. Okay, so Jeremy says, how do you feel about my team? In parentheses, he says P-Brain. Okay, so let's go through. P-Brain is up there at the 106. Let me hide my screen real quick so we can check out this team. And also, guys, if y'all get in a draft and you want me to go through your team, just let me know in the live chat. I'd love to go through and look at your picks so far. And keep in mind, I'm going to be talking about what I don't like, but I do the same thing with my own team, and I'm wrong all the time, but I think it's the best way that we can actually continue to get better as drafters. And here P-Brain goes, Zeke, Taylor. I'm fine with Taylor at the 207. I think that's where he needs to fall. Swift at the 306. I love this start that you had. I mean, I probably prefer someone, I don't know. I think we're fine with Zeke at the 106. Then you get some wide receivers here. Dak is interesting at the 607. I don't know if I necessarily like that over a wide receiver when you really don't have any stack potential with Dak Prescott. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Dak there. I understand the thought process though. I think we would just rather continue to hammer in positional guys and get Dak and get a quarterback a few rounds after. Then here you get Trey Sermon after it. Trey Sermon over these wide receivers. I'm fine with it if you like the upside. Actually, no, I'm not fine with it, to be honest. I think when you go running back, you kind of put yourself in a hole at wide receiver. Or I think the main mistake that we have seen in this draft so far is I think that Trey Sermon's more so a luxury upside pick compared to someone that you're going to be comfortable with this floor. So I think we would actually prefer to go with the wide receiver in this range, someone like a Juju Smith-Schuster to get those guaranteed targets. And then, yeah, you get a James Conner in the 1106, which I'm fine with. But I think where we would have most likely changed is we most likely would have changed the fact that, I mean, I think you went with one too many running back in Trey Sermon there when you could have gone wide receiver. Because it's not like you draft Trey Sermon and all of a sudden you can say, okay, we're saving a wide receiver spot. We only have to draft this many running backs in this draft because, I mean, you still ended up getting James Conner in the 1106 to end up drafting 5. Okay, so now let's pull this up. We're going to be at the 1510. So I think we kind of do something off. No, we're not going to do it. Actually, we can't even do it. I was going to say we possibly draft Deshaun Watson here. Okay, so Tyrell Williams does have really good reports coming out of camp for him. Demarcus Robinson would have been intriguing until we learned that Cornell Powell's running over him. Running back is a possibility. You know what? We're going to go Tyrell Williams because I'm kind of fine with the running backs that we're going to get later on. That's going to be our 8th wide receiver, so I think we're done at wide receiver. I think we're going to go with 1 to 2 more running backs. Actually, we're either going to go 3 more running backs or we're going to go, we're going to go 2 more running backs and a quarterback, or we're going to go 2 more quarterbacks and a running back. It's just mainly going to depend on the next few rounds. Zachary says, what do you think of Henry Ruggs and his weight gain? Not a massive fan of the weight gain for Henry Ruggs. I really like to stay away from talking about things that I don't have data to back up, and I can't necessarily show y'all on the screen. This is why I think this. But historically, I really want to say that speed wide receivers like that have gained weight going into the year, historically, it hasn't been great for their injuries. And like I said, I don't know enough to talk on that. So I don't think that Henry Ruggs gaining weight helps him at all. That's not something that I want to be viewing in a positive light. Okay, so now here we're going running back or quarterback. So possibly we go, there's so many quarterbacks here that I think we actually just kind of reach on a running back a little bit. Actually, no, let's just take James White. I think James White is intriguing in this league when we're looking for guys that are going to be getting snaps on a week-to-week basis. So here we get Barkley, Gibson, Kenyon Drake, Nyheim Hines, and James White. So we have 5 running backs. Maybe we finish it out with 2 quarterbacks. Maybe we finish it out with 2 quarterbacks. Let's see, okay? Did not mean to do that. I am sorry, my dudes, about that. I was meant to grab this so we can slide it over. Okay, Blake Jarwin at the 1604. Okay, Masked Enigma says next draft is a $5. Yeah, what we'll do, guys, is the next draft is going to be a $5 one. And then, like I said, if we get 500 likes on the live stream like we did last night, then I'll do another $50 draft at the end. And I wish I could see it live. Like if we had a live counter of the amount of people that have signed with promo code FLOCK, it would be fantastic. So I could say if we get 5 more underdog signups with promo code FLOCK, but obviously I can't track that as we're on the live stream. I have to go through and I have to double check with emails about that. So yeah, I can't say that and use that as an incentive, sadly. Let me check how many subscribers we're at because we have been skyrocketing with subscribers as of late. And honestly, it's not even that late right now. Maybe we actually, no, we're going to be live streaming another draft regardless. Okay, so let's go through, see how many subscribers we're at. We're at 20. Oh, we are booming with subscribers right now. Oh my God. Okay. Derek says, how do I drop a like on the video from my phone? My man, I actually forgot to drop a like on the video from my own phone. That's something that we always do. I mean, you got to believe in the flock. You got to trust the flock in the algorithm. So of course I need to pull that up on my own phone and drop a like, or I'd just be a straight up fraud right now. Thank you for reminding me to do that, my man. Okay. So just pulled that up and very, very simple. Okay. Perfect. And Mike says, road to 30,000 subscribers. My dudes, we're hitting 100,000 subscribers this season. And I could not be more confident about it. Like, I'm not even saying that's our goal or anything. That's the plan. We're hitting 100,000 subscribers this year. With the amount of support that y'all show these videos, with how y'all are signing up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, and we're getting more upgrades to the studio, and I'm able to just come out here and live stream hours and hours and hours and hours, and at the same time just focus in on making videos and not have to do anything else. I mean, y'all have taken this channel to a new level. We're hitting 100,000 subscribers. Thank you, my dudes. Okay. Daniel says, Mason, I am at the 1 spot. What do you think? Okay, let me pull this up. Daniel, my man. Okay, so it looks like you only have 1 tight end so far. Okay, I'll have some stuff to say with this team. CMC, love it. AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, love it. Okay, this is my number 1 problem with this team right off the bat. When you get Christian McCaffrey, you get such an advantage from your roster construction standpoint and what it allows you to do later on in the drafts, that taking a Mike Davis at the 412 is a massive, massive mistake. Now, we drafted Mike Davis in the draft right before this at the 610. And the reason we did that is because you're kind of chasing a floor performance for a running back. You're not necessarily expecting Mike Davis to ever have top 5 running back upside. So when you have those locked in touches, those guaranteed points with Christian McCaffrey at the running back position, the last thing you need to be doing is chasing a low upside running back like a Davis. Travis Etienne, I'm fine with. Yeah, but if you would have gone with a T. Higgins here instead of, if you would have gone with the Jamar Chase here instead, or an Adam Thielen, I think this team would be so much better than Mike Davis. Beyond that, okay, so you do have 2 tight ends. That's fine. I thought that you only had 1 tight end. That was going to be another change that we wanted to make. But yeah, I'm sorry to sound like an ass, my man, but that Mike Davis pick, you never want to be reaching on Mike Davis on a team that you have Christian McCaffrey, because you almost just completely get rid of the edge that you had for getting Christian McCaffrey. Okay, so here, this is disgusting. This is very, very gross. It looks like we're having to draft Jared Goff. I mean, there's very little to say here. I guess we get a stack with Tyrell Williams and TJ Hawkinson, but that's a mistake that we made. Let's point that out again. So we looked at the clock. We looked at the board when we were on the clock in the 16th round, and we went, okay, there are a ton of quarterbacks we're fine getting. And let's just take James White here. We'll take whoever falls back to us between a Sam Darnold, a Zach Wilson, a Ben Roethlisberger, Derek Carr. We needed to understand that other teams were waiting until the 16th, 17th round to get their quarterbacks as well. So there's no reason why we should have expected to be able to get our guys there that easily. So now, when we're in the last round, I think we actually need to come away with the 3rd quarterback in this draft, given the limited team investment that we put into it. Maybe I'm underrating Tom Brady here, but I actually think we need a 3rd QB. And I think with that 3rd QB, we actually just go with Carson Wentz. Now, yes, of course, it's concerning, thinking that he potentially misses 6 weeks. But yeah, that's going to be our pick. Okay, Zachary says, Mason, I think my draft fell apart down the stretch. What are your thoughts? My dude, let me pull this up real quick. And like I said, guys, if y'all are in a draft with us here on Underdog, please do not hesitate to just shoot me a DM in the live chat. And Mason, please let me know your thoughts on my team, because I think it's a really interesting thing to go through, breakdown. Obviously, Zach, we already covered it. I mean, he killed the first, I want to say 8 rounds of this draft. I mean, Hill, Mixon, Dobbins getting the stack with Mahomes, then Deontay Johnson, Odell, Juju getting the stack again with McCole Hardman, Robinson, the guaranteed running back touches, Robert Tonyan. Where were some other tight ends in this? I guess we're fine with it once Noah Fant and Logan Thomas go off the board, as long as he's going behind those guys. Gus Edwards right before Kenyon Drake, Latavius Murray. I think we do prefer Kenyon Drake over Edwards, but that's a same tier running back, not a massive difference. Then Sanders, Jacoby Myers, Emmanuel Sanders reportedly is playing over Gabriel Davis right now in training camp. But I still think we actually prefer Cole Beasley over Sanders. Maybe I'm just being, maybe I'm wrong on that one. Actually, you know what? I would prefer getting your second tight end over Emmanuel Sanders, to be honest. Maybe I'm just being too harsh on Sanders given the fact that he's 34 years old. Jacoby Myers, obviously, he's been a fast riser. Hunter Henry, Diami Brown, Derek Carr. I think you are right to wait until the 16th round to get your second quarterback when you draft Patrick Mahomes. I actually really like that team, my man. I don't think that team fell apart at all. Okay, like I said, guys, we are going to be getting another draft underway directly after this. Let me show y'all the board real quick. Okay, y'all should have seen it. Y'all can go back. Y'all can just... Y'all can pause it. Y'all can screenshot it. Let me set up another draft for everybody. Now, this is going to be a $5 draft. I'm going to specify real quick. Let's go through. I'm going to send it out in the live chat for everybody, guys. And like I said, if you're watching this as a video later on, or you want to participate in one of these live drafts going forward, we are going to be live streaming every single night until the season, doing 3 to 4 drafts every single night. So please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we are live. Most importantly, make sure you use promo code FLOCK. Get your free 2021 draft guide and $25 with a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so let me grab that link. I am sending this out in the general chat. And also, like I said, if we hit 500 likes on the live stream, I will do a 4th draft, but it's mainly just dependent on kind of the demand that we have for it. Okay. $5 draft. Sent that out in the live chat right now. And guys, everybody at once, hit that like button. Give us some luck to earn the 101. This is filling. It's going to fill fast, guys. But like I said, I mean, we're going to do one of these every single night. So if you don't get in this one, you have a ton of opportunities. Hit the like. Get us the 101. Come on. Come on. Do it for us. Get us the 101. We're at the 107. We've drafted from the freaking 107 so many times. I think the 107 is one of my least favorite spots, to be honest. Oh, my God. Okay, Chris says, that's crazy. You've gotten over 300 subscribers in the past day. No, my man, I promise you, it's going to pick up. We're about to start to get 1,000 subscribers in a day. I mean, it's good. It's going to get real crazy real quick. That's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, I think that we can hit 10,000 signups on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. I think we can crush this season because this is literally the best setup that we could ever have. I mean, you use promo code FLOCK, you get $25, you get our draft guide. At the same time, you get all of my love and affection, not just a little piece of it. I'm not dividing my love and affection among the 10,000 people that are going to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy to take advantage of the deal. I'm not dividing it into little tiny pieces and sending it out. No, I am devoting all of it to every single person. So please make sure you go through and do it. Okay, so Nelly says, didn't listen to my prayers. God, it is what it is. Okay, but P-Brain has gotten in draft after draft after draft out here. Okay, so Carved Muffin, I think that is the first time we've seen that name in one of these. Dan Larson, a regular out here. He goes Devontae Adams at the 103. He has the stones to do what I haven't done so far. Now, Derrick Henry at the 105. Okay, so considering this is a $5 draft, maybe we can try some stuff out. I think we are just going to take Kelce here just because in an Underdog draft, I mean, he gives you such an advantage that you only have to draft 2 tight ends. So we're going to take Kelce at the 107. Let me know what y'all think about it. Putt Live says $100 after this. So like $100 live draft after this one. Guys, like I said, we're going to do another draft after this if we get 500 likes. I mean, this live stream, looking at the views right now, this live stream has gotten like 3,000 views. So, I mean, I think it's very reasonable to ask for 500 likes. We hit that number last night, and it's really just going to tell me if we have the demand to do another draft after this, because if not that many people are wanting to see it, we don't need to do it. I mean, we're going to be doing it we're going to be drafting every single night. Okay. DeAndre says, is everybody forgetting about Marlon Mack returning this year? He will eat into Jonathan Taylor's touches in Indianapolis. My man, Marlon Mack, a 4th round pick in that 2017 draft class, was sure an impressive prospect, someone that was actually a high school recruit going to a small Florida school. But still, beyond that, I mean, this is a player that was never that good at the NFL level. He tore his Achilles. Tearing your Achilles is a death nail at the running back position. Compared to Jonathan Taylor, someone who consistently ran for over 2,000 yards at Wisconsin, someone who obviously was one of the best running back prospects we have seen in the past 10 years, comes out, crushes as a rookie. You're going to be betting on a day 3 running back who's coming off a torn Achilles to take touches away from Jonathan Taylor? I'm not betting on that. I think that's a very bad bet. Now, Jonathan Taylor at the 112, that's way too high. You need to be taking Austin Eckler over him. Aaron Jones goes to the 109, so I'm happy to see that. I would be taking Calvin Ridley over him at the same time, given the fact that my concerns with Jonathan Taylor are going to be the quarterback play and Quentin Nelson being out. But I'm not worried about Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack is not what you need to worry about at all. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins goes after Calvin Ridley here. Antonio Gibson, I would have loved to get Antonio Gibson in back-to-back drafts. Okay, thank God. I thought y'all were going to make me draft Nick Chubb. That would have been ugly. I would not have been excited about that. Okay, but here, I think we just go get a Joe Mixon. I understand the offensive line is bad, but Joe Burrow is going to make this offense significantly better. He's a running back that now without Giovanni Bernard, he's going to be seeing a significant amount of touches every single week. He's actually going to be getting targets out of the backfield at the same time. So yeah, let's get Joe Mixon there at the 206. And it's going to allow us to hit some wide receivers in here after this. Okay. So DeAndre says, how did I do in the last draft? I'm party till she's hot, and I drafted Adams at the 104. My man, okay, thank God that I know your team name now. I know you've jumped into so many drafts with us. You actually were sniping us in yesterday's draft over and over and over again. I think that was the draft that was at the 111. If I'm remembering correctly, I think you were at the 112. But yeah, I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to pull up that draft board, but definitely now that I know your name, we can go through and we can recap those drafts for you. James says, is this the last draft of the night? It's going to depend if we get over 500 likes on the live stream. If we get 500 likes on the live stream, we'll do another one. And if we do another one, it'll probably be another $50 one. We'll ask the chat. It'll be either a $50 or a $5 one, whatever y'all are wanting. Okay, so Mixon at the 206, then Metcalf, Darren Waller, Justin Jefferson, George Kittle. Okay, so even though we got Kittle at the 303, I mean, I guess it wasn't as good of a pick as we thought just because that team turned out so good. But Kittle's going in the second round in all these other drafts. Samir says, is it common that we can't deposit right after setting up an account? It's actually something you have to get your identity. You have to get your identity verified with Underdog, which takes about 5 to 10 minutes. That's why in the live chat, I'm always sending out join our next draft here with code FLOCK. That way you can start that process because Underdog is giving out $25 for everybody who uses promo code FLOCK. So you can't rig the system by going through and making 10 different accounts and getting a free $250 from them. Obviously, Underdog would go bankrupt if that was the case. So they do have to verify your identity, and obviously for legal purposes as well, just because the platform that they are. So it does take a little bit of time before you make a deposit, and that's why you need to use promo code FLOCK right now. That way, when you are in a live stream and I send out that private link, you already have everything sorted so you can hop in and you can get in a draft on the stream. Scott says, email me on the $300 to $1,000 draft. My man, we're actually probably going to do a $500 Underdog draft. I want to say very soon. I was talking with the people over at Underdog for it. We hit a Patreon goal where if we hit a certain goal, I was going to be starting up another $500 league. So we're going to do a $500 Underdog draft soon. If y'all want to see that, make sure you're dropping likes on the videos. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Okay, so now at the 307, we're familiar with this range. Most of the time you go with a wide receiver, and maybe we go something else just because you actually have one player that I really want falling to us, and y'all know who it is. One of my most drafted wide receivers in all of these drafts so far. So let's see if he falls. Let's see if he falls at the 306. Okay, so Amari Cooper goes. Okay, so we get our guy in Allen Robinson. I do not understand what is up with Allen Robinson consistently falling to this range. This is a wide receiver that has showed the ability to be a top 10 option with the combination of Mitchell Trubisky, Blake Bortles, Nick Foles. Now he is getting the best 2 quarterbacks he's had in his entire career in Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. And I know Dalton's very bad, but I think that we can safely say that he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. He's better than Blake Bortles. And now you're expecting Allen Robinson to all of a sudden get significantly worse and not be a top 10 wide receiver. So yeah, here we're going to go Robinson. If we decided to go with a wide receiver in the second round instead of Joe Mixon, I would have been fine taking J.K. Dobbins. Now, of course, I love Robert Woods as well. This is just a solid range of the draft. I can't get behind taking Terry McLaurin over Allen Robinson. Tommy says, how did Swift get picked before Najee Harris? Crazy to me. My man, that is crazy to me as well, considering the volume that Najee Harris should expect to see. I mean, I bet you P-Brain was not expecting to get a Najee Harris at the 212, but I'm sure he was very excited about that. Okay, so now we have a little bit more of a running back run going off of the 309, the 310, the 311. It's going to be interesting to see what Jonah decides to do in the 4th round, given the fact that he starts running back. Maybe he decides to continue to push the running back value by drafting another one. Maybe he decides to kind of slow it down and go with the wide receiver or tight end or possibly even quarterback. Okay. Go Bills says, I have Jonathan Taylor. What should I do? Jonathan Taylor for Jones, Jonathan Taylor for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or Jonathan Taylor for DeAndre Swift and David Johnson, or should I keep him? Okay, so I'll say if you can trade Jonathan Taylor for Aaron Jones in a 2021 redraft league, I'm taking Aaron Jones. In a dynasty format, you need to keep Jonathan Taylor, but if we're talking redraft, I prefer Aaron Jones. Okay, also, guys, like I said, if we hit 500 likes on this live stream, we are going to be doing another draft after this. I believe we only need like 30 more likes. I'm sure we're going to get there. Okay, so Mahomes at the 501. This is very intriguing. I don't think I've ever seen this start before. We see running back, Mahomes. I don't know if I can get behind it. It's definitely intriguing. Maybe I could get behind it if you take a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But like I said, when I'm taking those elite quarterbacks, I really want to make sure it's because I'm getting a stack in it. I don't necessarily want to be taking an elite quarterback just to draft one. Okay, so now at the 406, let's see if we get the guy that we are looking at. Okay, so DJ Moore. I would love DJ Moore. I've drafted Moore in so many of these drafts. Okay, so come on. Let's see what is happening here. Les Hurts. He goes Godwin. Of course we're going to go Godwin. But at least I don't have to give my disclaimer about Godwin and how dumb I am. Maybe. Okay, so I think we actually go Julio Jones here. So I really like T. Higgins as well, but I think the majority of the time we can actually get T. Higgins a little later. So we're going to be drafting Julio Jones. Let me minimize my screen just slightly so everybody can see this. Okay, so our start so far was Kelsey, Mixon, A-Rob, and Julio Jones. Let me know what y'all think about that. I was going to go Godwin if Godwin fell to the 506, but I think we go Julio Jones knowing that we can get T. Higgins in some drafts in the late 4th, and Julio Jones is never going to fall there. Like I said, guys, I'm going to be doing probably 200, 300 of these live drafts with y'all. So I need to be making sure we're taking into account ADP at the same time because I can't end up with T. Higgins in 100 out of 200 leagues and Julio Jones in 0 out of 200 leagues. DeAndre says, promo code FLOCK, you get a free draft guide and $25. Yes, sir. Promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Get our draft guide and a free $25. Okay, so James says $5 draft next for all the poor people out here. We're most likely going to do a $5 draft next. I'm going to ask the live chat what y'all prefer between a $5 and a $50 draft. We'll go from there. I'm assuming the majority of people are going to say $5, though. Okay, so Josh Jacobs goes to the 407. Jacobs, I actually made a video today talking about why I think that Jacobs went from being a running back to while he was being drafted in the 3rd round. I hated him, and I think that we would much prefer having an Allen Robinson, a Robert Woods, a DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, a Julio Jones, a Cooper Kupp. I mean, that was my stance about 2 months ago when Josh Jacobs was going over those players. But now that you see Jacobs consistently going, I mean, this is kind of the earliest he goes at this point. You're seeing him go more so around the 4-5 turn. I think at that range, Josh Jacobs is a smash pick. Okay, so we have a wide receiver run happening here. This is what you should expect in the 4th round, but it looks like only 2 picks in the entire 4th round are not going to be wide receiver, and that's going to be Mahomes and Josh Jacobs. Okay, so I see Jackson saying the puppy too. No, guys, we're only going to be doing actually private drafts on Underdog. Y'all are more than welcome to go hop into some of those tournaments, but I want to make sure we're doing private drafts. That way I can kind of interact with y'all. I can look at your own teams and y'all can make fun of my teams. And if we're starting to do public drafts, like if we're doing like the puppy or the big dog or something like that, it's going to just get a little confusing in that I'm going to have to tell people, hey, this is the draft you need to join. And I would much prefer just sending the link out in the live chat and saying, hey, join here, and making sure that it's only subscribers to the channel. Okay, so Austin coming out spamming in the chat. My man, I'm not going to answer your question out of principle because you can't spam your question over and over and over again. So instead, I'm going to have to mute you for a second. You're going to be muted for 5 minutes. Please ask again later. I'm sorry, but you just can't spam the chat like that and ruin it for everyone else. James says, all right, this big wide receiver run is making me feel a little bit better about wide receiver to start this draft off. Okay, so here we actually had James starting off Stefon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, and then he goes Carson in the third, Evans in the fourth. That is a very intriguing start. I think we do definitely prefer Stefon Diggs over, we do prefer Tyreek Hill if he falls there. I don't know if we want to be starting our draft with Diggs, Ridley. If you can start with like Hill, Ridley, then I like it, but I don't know. Let's pull this up right now. At the 507, I know a lot of people probably want us to go with a Darrell Henderson here. I don't think we're going to. I think we actually go wide receiver, given the fact that, we already have Mixon kind of locking and loading his touches. We're going to get a Chase Claypool, someone that we know has access to a very high ceiling in a best ball format. That's actually really what we're searching for when he's going to be our 5th pick overall and our 3rd wide receiver in a format where you have to submit your starting lineup each and every week. I'm probably going to be a little bit lower on Chase Claypool, but in a best ball format, I think he's the perfect guy because we've already seen him have his massive performances before. Okay, so Josh Allen at the 508. And also, guys, I just really don't I don't like going and getting those elite QBs. If I'm going to get an elite quarterback without stacking one, I definitely want to make sure I'm getting a Lamar Jackson, someone that's going to have a ton of rushing potential. Okay. Tyler says, I need Ridley in a league. He saved me last year. I drafted at Michael Thomas. Calvin Ridley, literally has upside to be, I don't want to say the wide receiver 1 because Devontae Adams is going to crush it. The wide receiver 2, though. Okay, so Scott says, thanks, guys. I love your YouTube channel. No, Scott, thank you so much for coming out to the live stream. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I actually need to give a shout out to everybody subscribing to the channel right now. Let me go down and look at who's subscribed over the past 10 minutes or so. So we have Dr. Dre, Spencer, Ryan, Chris, Brandon, Steph, Texify, Cleveland, Skizzy, Anthony, Hooser, all subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let me check how many subscribers we are at because, it is absurd how fast we are growing. Oh, yeah. So we're about to be at 27.5 thousand subscribers. Thank you, my dudes. Thank you. Okay. Did not mean to do that. Did not get me out of here. Get me out of here. Okay. I hate when my Mac does that. And sometimes I can't get it back. Thank God we were able to get it back this time. Okay, Matthew says, so I just signed up and used code FLOCK, but my deposit was taking too long, so I canceled it at the main menu. Can I still deposit now and get the guide and $25? You can deposit and see if you get the $25 bonus. And if you do, make sure you shoot me a DM on Twitter. Let me know, and I'll verify your email. And then if it did work, then I'll definitely get you that guide, my man. Okay, so here do we want Robbie Anderson or Javonte Williams? So reports out of Denver are saying that Melvin Gordon is currently the starting running back right now, but I've been on record saying that I'm not necessarily caring too much about those reports. And given the fact that we only have one running back on this team, I think getting Javonte Williams at the 606 is going to be fine value. Even though I do really like Kareem Hunt, I think Javonte Williams is actually going to be the pick there. Okay, XX Pub says, check my Dak stack. Okay, let's look at Dak Prescott. Okay, so you have the Amari Cooper and Dak. Oh, okay, I thought it was going to be crazier than that. I thought you pulled off CeeDee Lamb, Amari, and Dak Prescott. What used to be crazy is CeeDee Lamb and Amari used to go at the 3-4 turn. They used to go so late in these underdog drafts. Okay, ZHM says, how do you value a top 5 running back compared to a wide receiver 1 overall, not just for the draft, but also for future trade consideration? So obviously you would prefer having like the running back 3 in fantasy over the wide receiver 1 in fantasy. But a big thing is when you're drafting those players, you don't necessarily know who the running back 3 is going to be. And that's why I am wanting to be very aggressive on Davante Adams this year, because with Davante Adams, he has an extremely high floor where I think his bust rate is going to be lower than any other guy in the first round outside of Christian McCaffrey, barring injury. But he has the same type of ceiling. Now, if you would tell me, Mason, I can guarantee you that Derrick Henry is going to be the running back 3 in fantasy this year. The touches aren't going to catch up to him. He isn't going to be at an increased rate for injury. The offensive line change with his offensive coordinator leaving over is not going to affect the offense at all. Then sure, I would rather have the running back 3 over Davante Adams. But given the fact that you have concerns with really all those running backs in that range, I prefer just taking the safer pick with just as much upside in Davante Adams. Okay, DeAndre says, not saying it isn't great advice, but if you know how to draft, you should be okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. He says, I took DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley at the 12 turn last night in the $50 draft. Okay, so I'm just interested to see how it pays out. And also, guys, like I said, if we hit 500 likes in this live stream, we will be going through and we'll be doing another draft after this. I'm sure we are going to hit 500 likes in the live stream, though. Okay, so Chark going. Damien Harris sneaking his way into the 6th round. Damien Harris going in the same range of a Kareem Hunt and a Javonte Williams makes me want to throw up. I hate that selection of a Damien Harris. I mean, this was probably my favorite draft up until this point. Maybe you just, what I think ruined this draft here, Carved Muffin killed it with Adams, Kittle, Lamb, Ayuk. Once you get to the 5th round, you have to take Travis Etienne here. You have to take Travis Etienne. I mean, if we just look at drafting Odell and Damien Harris versus drafting, let's say we flip this to where you took a running back here and a wide receiver here. Would you rather have Odell and Damien Harris, or would you rather have Travis Etienne and DJ Chark? You would easily prefer the Jacksonville guys, and it isn't even really close. Okay, so now we are going to be up on the clock soon. Let's pull this up, look at who we're going to be trying to pull in this roster. Okay, so this pick's going to be a wide receiver, to be completely honest. I mean, Justin Herbert, sure, he's kind of a value here, but we don't have any of the Los Angeles Chargers stacks, so we're not going to be too concerned about that. So we're pulling up the 707. Like I said, guys, I mean, Michael Thomas, if you're playing in a league where you have access to the waiver wire, you submit your starting lineup every single week, and you don't need your points to matter all the same throughout the year, then sure, Michael Thomas is a great pick here. But given the fact that this is best ball and we need points the entire season, I don't necessarily know if we can go that route. And given the fact that this is best ball and we're looking for wide receivers that can plug and play, I think we actually just draft Tyler Boyd here as our wide receiver 4. If we were going to be going, actually, I don't even want to say what running back we would have considered, given the fact that there are probably no running backs in that range that I would have considered. So I'm really happy about our Javonte Williams selection in the 6th round right about now. Okay, Devin says, I don't understand the logic of trying to stack the quarterback and the wide receiver. Usually that means you're reaching to get certain players. I don't think you should be reaching to get certain players. I think you should be trying to look at every pick that you make and see if something's falling to you that you like. So I see, okay, Justin Herbert's the quarterback value there. Did I draft one of the Los Angeles Chargers players at the beginning of this draft, and I can take Justin Herbert and I can get that value stacked in? Now, of course, if I would have drafted Keenan Allen in the 3rd instead of an Allen Robinson, then I'd be looking at a scenario going, okay, I think here we can take Herbert. But just because I took Allen Robinson doesn't mean I'm thinking, okay, well, I now need to reach on Justin Fields. It's completely different. You just have to monitor the draft and understand where you stand, and that way you go through and you actually look to change it. Okay, so Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller. Okay, so this is a massive wide receiver run. Thank God we went with Tyler Boyd. Okay, Justin Herbert finally goes. Who did Justin Herbert go off to? Justin Herbert went to a team that, it's so interesting. Actually, I guess when you take Mahomes here, you can't really take Herbert that early. Let me know what y'all think of this Mahomes team, because I've never seen a team go running back, Mahomes. Literally, I've never seen it. So let me scroll back up to the top. Jonathan Taylor, Eckler, Miles Sanders, Mahomes, Golladay, Curtis Samuel, Will Fuller, and TJ Hawkinson. Let me know what y'all think of that team. Personally, I'm not necessarily a massive fan of it. I think that you kind of need to pivot over, and you can't get that elite quarterback when you go running back early. But it is what it is. Okay, so here as an example, like when we're on the clock, we go, okay, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, the best quarterbacks available. Do we have one of their stack options? No, we do not. So we look somewhere else. And I think we actually look to get a Jalen Waddle in this range, given the fact with Jalen Waddle, he's a perfect fit for a best ball format. He can be someone that sees those spike weeks and jumps up into your starting lineup. So getting him at the 806, I'm going to be happy about. Behind Will Fuller, McCole Hardman, Hollywood Brown, and right before some other wide receivers that I don't think are in the same range. Okay, so we passed 500 likes on the live stream, my dudes. Thank you, everybody, for going down there and dropping that like. We'll be doing a 4th draft after this. And yeah, we'll get a 4th one going. I'm not going to ask y'all right now, but it's either going to be a $5 or a $50 one, depending on what y'all are wanting to see in the draft. So far, what we have done is we've done a 5, 50, 5. So maybe we can do a 50 and it'll be fun and we can get the prize pool up, but it is what it is. Okay, so now Robinson at the 808. Robinson would have actually, both of those running backs would be interesting in this format for guaranteed touches. But a big thing is, I mean, I think that Waddle's just having a higher spike week potential. Okay, so Rodgers at the 810, Darnell Mooney at the 809. Okay, Pub says, I was talking about Zeke, Cooper, Dak, and then Gallup fell to me. Okay, I didn't see that you got Zeke. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so Zeke, Cooper, Dak, Gallup. Okay, yeah, man. That is fantastic. And see, this is another example of, oh my God. I'm going to kill that. I'm going to kill that dog. I'm going to go out to yell at her. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I also did not mean to slam the door. The fan just took that right from me. But I didn't even get to her. My brother went and grabbed her. Okay, oh my God. I just, living in an apartment, nothing scares me more than my neighbors coming over in the middle of a live stream telling me I need to do something with a dog. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so let's pull this up real quick. Where we're going to be going in the 9th round. Another example of looking for a stack. Okay, so we go, okay, the best available quarterbacks here. Joe Burrow, Tom Brady. Do we have a stack option? Should we be going with one of those? We have a Tyler Boyd for Cincinnati. I don't necessarily think that warrants us going out of our way to get Joe Burrow. If we think he's the best value available, we will draft him, but I don't necessarily think we need to just completely change our strategy based on that. So now we have some more wide receivers going off the board. So we have to change our evaluation on who we think we're going to be looking at once we get to the 10th round. Okay, so now Jarvis Landry, Michael Pittman, Devontae Parker, Corey Davis. Noah Fant at the 906. Okay, so once Noah Fant goes, we took Kelsey, so we can't consider Logan Thomas. Okay, I'm sorry. Also, let me slide this over here so you can see my team. Maybe we just get Burrow. The big thing is, what wide receivers would be falling to us? We're just going to get Joe Burrow here at QB as our first quarterback in this draft. So far our team is at quarterback, Joe Burrow at running back. Actually, we do have a Cincinnati stack. I completely overlooked the fact that we have Joe Mixon, so I really do actually love that Joe Burrow pick. So we have Burrow, Mixon, Tyler Boyd for a Cincinnati stack. At running back, we have Mixon, Javonte Williams. At wide receiver, we have A-Rob, Julio, Chase Claypool, Tyler Boyd, Jalen Waddle. And at tight end, we have the cheat code in Travis Kelce, who's going to allow us to only have to draft one tight end here and get an extra wide receiver for those spike weeks. Let's go through. Echo says, decided to drop in from work. This app is awesome. Yeah, guys, like I said, I mean, literally nothing is better than us getting a partnership with Underdog Fantasy. I just look forward to these drafts all day. Like I'll be at the gym and I want to hop in drafts so bad. Like, obviously, I wouldn't be able to live stream them, but I just kind of want to send one out on Patreon. But I'm like, no, Mason, let's just wait until tonight. Let's wait and use that enthusiasm tonight. Let's get the other work that we have done, because I'll be at my desk and I'll be just working on stuff on Patreon. I'll be going through and doing research for the videos for the day. And I'll grab my phone. I'll pull up Underdog. And I'm like, okay, I really want to fire in a tournament. I really want to get a draft going. But yeah, no, that's why I kind of wanted to do 4 drafts tonight. I know that we said we were only going to be doing 2 a night, but they're just too fun, to be completely honest. Okay, so Jarvis Landry at the 912. And also, I feel like especially when we get closer to the year. A big reason I've actually waited to want, because I said that we were going to do that $500 league relatively, I mean, a long time ago, to be honest. I said that probably a week ago. We hit that Patreon goal. So once we hit that Patreon goal, I mean, I was like, oh crap, we're going to do a $500 league. I definitely want to make sure that I am just tuned in and ready to go for that draft. So, I mean, getting in as many of these as possible just to have those practice reps in, I think is going to be crucial when you have that league you really care about. Okay, so now let's go through 511 likes on the stream. Thank you, my dudes. Now we have that running back run going here. Melgo, James Conner, Kenyon Drake. I really don't like seeing the combination of James Conner, Kenyon Drake go off the board because those would have been players we would have considered at one of those picks. So let's move this over here. Let's pop this up. Okay, so let me slide this over so y'all can see those players. And now we have the flexibility of going really any position we want except tight end. So we can go quarterback, running back, or wide receiver here. Wide receiver, you're just seeing Michael Pittman fall every draft due to everything that's going on in Indianapolis. Now here, I think that we can actually, a running back would be a reach at this point. I think that we actually go with Corey Davis, a wide receiver that I am really excited about in New York. I do wish that they actually didn't restructure the contract of Jamison Crowder. That would get me a lot more excited. But I see that we have some people in the chat saying they're just now dropping in. So let me scroll up and show off the entire draft board for 1 second. Please, guys, let me know what y'all are thinking of this draft. If you're looking at any of my picks and you think you would have gone somewhere else, please let me know. And like I said, guys, if you're playing in a regular league where you have access to the waiver wire and you submit your starting lineup each and every week, you definitely need to be drafting Michael Thomas over Tyler Boyd here, given his ceiling in those playoff weeks. Now, this format's a little bit different. You need points throughout the entire year, and that's why we're taking Tyler Boyd at the 707. Okay, so let's slide that back down. Now, Trevor Lawrence at the 1008. Okay, so see that a lot of people wanted us to go with Rashad Bateman. Okay, so now let's go through. So Joe says, I wish there was a website where you could do a mock draft with keepers you pick in a keeper league to see who you get. Man, honestly, every experience that I've had with just any kind of machine that you're going up against a computer to mock draft, it's the funniest thing ever that I spend all day breaking down teams on Patreon, and people will send me mock drafts and I'll go, my man, you got Laviska Shenault here in the 12th round. How did you possibly do that? And they'll go, well, to be honest, this is a mock draft. I went to this website. I used their tool. I used their blah, blah, blah draft expert. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, what? Why would you ever draft against a computer? Drafting against a computer literally does nothing for you. No drafts ever pan out that way. I don't think I've ever seen something that I'm looking at and going, okay, well, yeah, that's actually getting you better at drafting. I think a lot of the times you're wasting your time. I think that's why Underdog is so good, because you can go through and you can see how everything's going to structure. And of course, if you're playing in a keeper league, it's not going to go just like this, but it's going to be a lot more valuable doing it on Underdog and just understanding, okay, so 24 players actually are already being kept. So we can go through, we can try to adjust knowing what players are going to be gone from the player pool and look at a real draft board with real money attached to it compared to just some random machine that's online. I mean, I think there's almost nothing worse. Okay, so we are going to be back up on the clock. So after passing on the quarterback position, we do have a little bit of a quarterback run going here. Okay, so let's figure out where we are going to be going at the 1107. Okay, so we do have some wide receivers falling to us, which is going to be interesting. Now, we actually have 6 wide receivers already on this roster. So I actually think we are going to go with running back here. Now, Latavius Murray is interesting because obviously this is someone that if Alvin Kamara went down, I mean, he does have a path to be a top 15 running back every single week in fantasy. But more importantly, he's also going to be seeing snaps every single week. We've seen that Latavius Murray can pop off and get a random 2 touchdowns here or there. So what you're going to find from Latavius Murray is he can come out and he can make your lineup in a best ball format. So that is kind of the perfect running back 3 on this team. The Villa says auto pick just screws up the draft for everybody else. Yeah, I mean, guys, have you ever drafted against like a machine and you're going like, oh, okay, this is what I feel comfortable. This is how my draft's going to go. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, it's a fun thought. It's kind of fun to do, but you're just wasting your time. That's why it's so good on Underdog Fantasy. Like I said, you use promo code FLOCK. You deposit $10 on Underdog Fantasy. You get $25 to play with. They do $3 12-man drafts. So you can hop in. You can play in 11 real leagues, 11 real drafts. That's going to prepare you way better than a machine ever would for your real fantasy football drafts this upcoming season. And it costs you $10 and you got paid to do it. You're probably going to get way more money. You're going to win a league or two and then have more money than that $10 you put in. Also, at the same time, you use promo code FLOCK. You get our 2021 draft guide. So yeah, I think there's no better way to get better at drafting fantasy football teams than Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so Michael says, I got auto-picked Michael Thomas. Sad day. Where did you get Michael Thomas? Okay, at the 708. Honestly, I don't think Michael Thomas is horrendous value there. Anthony says, you really about to make me download Underdog? Anthony, you are in this live chat and you have not downloaded Underdog and used promo code FLOCK. Have you not heard that that's the number one thing that you can do to support this channel? Have you not heard that I will send you all of my love and affection? Not just a little bit of it. Not just 50% of it, not 75, not 99% of it. You'll get 100% of it. 100% of it will be going in your direction. Please, guys, make sure you help us continue to hit our goals, continue to upgrade the studio. Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. Okay, so I see Mike says it makes sense now. Marlowe works for Fantasy Pros. He's promoting them and hating on the Fantasy Flock. Okay, so I have no idea what that was. He promoting them earlier on? Okay, I do not know what y'all are talking about. Okay, so now we are on the clock here. So after going with a running back, we do have the luxury of getting another wide receiver if we would like, which to be honest, I mean, I think wide receiver is kind of the best value available here. I think we get... I can't go tight end. You know what? We're going to go Devin Singletary. We're going to reach on a running back. I hated Devin Singletary in drafts last year. But Singletary, I'm actually viewing as someone that is going to be a value in this season. I think a lot of people are looking at the fact that he only had 2 touchdowns last year and projecting that forward to the following year, which I'd rather do is actually look at the volume. Of course, Devin Singletary, given his frame, is always going to be someone that isn't near the league top in his red zone touches, which of course you need to take into consideration. But at the end of the day, I mean, he is someone that's going to get touches, and in a best ball format, he is going to see spike weeks. Okay, okay, so Marlowe is out here, looks like promoting other stuff. Okay, so people are claiming Marlowe works for someone else promoting. Guys, I don't know if this kind of goes without saying. You can not promote. You cannot do self-promotion in the chat, especially on an underdog draft. I don't know what y'all are doing. So, Marlowe, you are going to get muted. My man, you are getting muted. Okay. So now let's go through. Let's look at the drafts after this. Okay, so we have a Gerald Everett, Evan Ingram. Okay, so now let's see where we're going to be in the 13th round. Actually, no, in 13th round, I don't want to be talking about players that are going to be available there. And like I said, guys, we are going to be doing another draft after this one because we got 500 likes on the live stream. Thank you so much, everybody out here. Okay, the Stinky Man comes out and says, I'm at the 110 spot. Thoughts? I made a few panic picks, sadly. Yes, sir, I'd be happy to go down. Okay, so we're going to look at Fork Nasty after we make our next selection. And like I said, guys, if you get in one of these underdog drafts with us and you want me to break down your draft real quick, please just shoot me a message in the general chat of the live stream, and I'd be happy to go through and look at your exact draft. Okay. So now Jonathan says, how is a best ball format different than a standard format? So what's great about best ball is, you know how I'm saying that these are real leagues that you actually have to pay money to get into. So people aren't going to be auto drafting. You're not going to be drafting against a computer. You're drafting against real people with money on the line. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to join 20 leagues, then have to manage 20 different teams throughout the year. And that's going to take away from the teams that you really care about. What's great about best ball is you don't have to manage it through the year. We're drafting this team right here, and I will never see this draft ever again. What's going to happen is after each week is played, like after we go through week 1, Underdog is automatically going to submit the best starting lineup that I had, and they're going to track your points throughout the entire year. There's no waivers, there's no start-sit decisions, and that's why it's the best way to become a better fantasy football drafter, and it's not even close. Jeremy says, hey, Mason, I just joined Underdog, got the extra 25, but now I'm a noob on the site. Suggestion on where and how to get started. I would say definitely if you get the extra $25 bonus, don't necessarily go and just blow it in like one tournament right away. Go and get in a $3 draft that's for 12 people. That way you get used to the site. You can get used to a 30-second clock because it is very fast, my dudes. Now we are on the clock. We're just going to get Nelson Agholor as a wide receiver that's going to see a decent amount of snaps. So now, I know that our team doesn't necessarily look that pretty, but in a best ball format, this is really exactly what I'm going for. Okay. So now we get Nelson Agholor at the 1307, directly after Jonnu Smith, James White. Yeah, so man, let's go to Fork Nasty right after this. Okay, so let's go look at Fork Nasty's team. He went Barkley at the 110, love Barkley at the 110, Hopkins at the 203. I probably prefer Gibson like we went last draft, then Montgomery at the 310. I'm fine with it. Cooper Kupp I like. Kyler, I love getting the stack with Hopkins at a value. This is what I'm talking about with getting stacks. You get Kyler beyond his ADP when you have DeAndre Hopkins. That's where you go out of your way. Myles Gaskin at the 603. I mean, you take him over Laviska. I'm fine with Gaskin at the 603. Fine with it. Kenyon Drake. Fine with it. Rondell Moore. I think that was a really... what panic picks are you saying that you made? Because I think that's a really good draft. Okay, Anthony says, I'm already in a couple of your money leagues, Finks, but I got you. Yes, sir, my man. Definitely, like, if y'all are joining Underdog, don't go and don't play in the $25 league right away. If you go through and you feel comfortable in the $3 league, then yes, by all means, if you think that you have an edge over the field, go enter into some bigger contest. Now, make sure you at least save $5 that way you can hop into one of our drafts with us, because I want to be drafting with as many of y'all as possible. But yeah, I mean, you get a $25 bonus, so you can go around, you can play on the site. Okay, D. Larso says, Mason, how do you feel about my team at the 105? I think I choked on multiple picks. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the 105 is Dan Larson. Okay, so Dan Larson, a regular in this draft. I'm sure his draft is great, but we'll look at it after we make my pick right here. Okay, so we are going to be up. We've gone 1 QB, 4 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 1 tight end. So we can be looking to go with another quarterback here sometime soon. We don't have to do it right now. We can actually take a tight end in this range as well if we think one's a great value. Okay, so what running backs are available? Okay, we can't go running back. We're already down to Giovanni Bernard. We can't draft a running back here. I think that we're actually going to end up with just another wide receiver that projects to see a ton of targets. We're going to have a very slim draft at tight end, given the fact that we get that extra spot for wide receiver when we took a Travis Kelce. So here we're going to take Paris Campbell. Yes, you don't like the quarterback situation, but maybe since you actually have Quentin Nelson down and the quarterback back there is going to have less time to get the ball downfield, maybe he looks to check the ball down to Paris Campbell, who runs routes closer to the line of scrimmage compared to Michael Pittman. I think that Paris Campbell's a lot closer to Michael Pittman than a lot of people actually want to believe. So I'm fine with Paris Campbell there at the 1406 as our last wide receiver. Now, what we need to do is we need to get one more tight end. We need to get at the very minimum one more quarterback. And then we're going to have a spot to decide, do we want another quarterback? Do we want 3 QBs? Or do we want 2 QBs and load up on 2 more running backs? It's mainly going to depend on the value that we see from here. Okay, Danny says, Mason, do you ever do auction style drafts? So he said, my big money league is an auction style, and I've never seen anyone doing mocks for it. We actually did a Patreon Dynasty startup auction this offseason. Now, it's just so hard for me to go through and live stream and keep track of everything in an auction because, of course, I want to be live streaming everything that I'm doing so I can go through and I can talk through. But it's going to be hard for me to live stream an auction given the fact that I have to be fully engaged 24/7. Now you can see that I'm kind of bouncing back and forth doing different things because I'm only having to make one pick every so often. So we're not going to do any auctions. I'm definitely going to stick everything with Underdog Fantasy for this upcoming year just because, I mean, I think this is the perfect spot to just have everybody here. We can get in as many drafts as possible together and just crush people this upcoming season. Okay, so let's go back and let's look at the 105 for Dan Larson real quick. So let's pull this up here. He took Henry at 5, fine with it. Waller, fine. McLaurin, my man, you know I want Allen Robinson over Terry McLaurin, but we don't need to dive into it because you already know that. Tyler Lockett in best ball format. I like taking Tyler Lockett. If you had to submit your starting lineup each and every week, I think we prefer T. Higgins. Travis Etienne, love him at the 505. Love Kareem Hunt at the 608. Now with a Mike Williams, taking him over here, I guess you're getting another wide receiver that does have spike week potential. James Robinson. Robinson, I actually don't like this pick because when you're taking Robinson, I like doing so on a team that you decided to go slim running back and you're kind of locking up touches later on. where here you already have Henry, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt. So you don't necessarily need a floor for a running back. So I think you're kind of out on this tier with the James Robinson and the Ronald Jones. They don't fit the roster that nice. I think we would actually prefer to see you go with one of these quarterbacks or possibly even a wide receiver. And then you have Russell Gage at the 905, Trevor Lawrence to stack with Travis Etienne, James Robinson. I love the Russell Gage pick, by the way. Then Henry Ruggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Bryan Edwards, Tevin Coleman. So yeah, I think the problem was, to be honest, I think out of that entire draft, the only thing that I really didn't like that you did is I really didn't like the fact that you went out there and you got a James Robinson in the 8th, especially on a team where you already had a Travis Etienne. Okay, so now we're going to be at the 1507. Like I said, guys, we are done drafting wide receiver. So we need one more tight end, one more quarterback, one more running back, and then we'll have one more spot to determine QB or running back based on the value that we're going to have. So maybe we want to go tight end here. I do really like Cole Kmet for this value. I was planning on waiting on tight end later than we were going to do with quarterback and running back. But based on Cole Kmet, in my opinion, really being good value here in the 15th round, we are going to take him on the same team that we do have Travis Kelce. So we don't have high expectations for Cole Kmet. So maybe that was a bad pick. Maybe we should have prioritized going out there and getting our quarterback, getting our running back. Please let me know what y'all think of that. And also, guys, like I said, we are going to be doing one more draft after this. I haven't decided yet if it's going to be a $50 or a $5 draft. We are going to ask the general chat before we set it up. And essentially, y'all are going to decide for us. Okay. So now Danny says, very true. You have to be so locked into auction drafts. It's a little annoying, to be honest. I like that everyone has equal chances on every player. Oh, yes. No, definitely auction drafts reward the best fantasy football players. I will be the first one to admit that. I mean, I think a snake draft actually makes it where the playing field's a little bit level. Like if you're getting in a league with a bunch of beginners, then I think a snake draft's actually the best. But if you're playing with a bunch of high stakes, I mean, just eaters, like crushers at that next level, I think auction's probably the most fair. Okay. So now Baker Mayfield at the 15-12. So like I said, we do need another quarterback. And guys, don't tell me if y'all want a 50 or a 5 right now. We're going to figure that out after this draft. I'm not asking right now. I'm sorry if it seemed like I was. I'm not asking what y'all wanted. Okay, so now Giovanni Bernard, Malcolm Brown. I do like that Malcolm Brown pick. I was kind of hoping that he was going to make it to us in the 16th. Okay, so now let's pull this back up. Let's see where we are going to be going. We are on the clock in 3 picks. So we need, essentially, we're only looking QB running back. We're only looking QB running back. At quarterback, we're actually going to go QB with this pick because we were in this same exact situation just last draft. And this is what I mean by just continuing to try to reevaluate how you can get better. And we looked at this entire quarterback landscape thinking that we were going to get someone that we like falling back to us. That's how a lot of other people wait until this point. So those running backs, surprisingly, are still going to be around when we get around from here. But those quarterbacks are about to start to go off the board. So here, if we go through, if we see any guys that stand out based on the draft picks we have already made, maybe because we went with the Chase, Claypool, we want to get a Ben Roethlisberger. We don't really have anybody for Derek Carr. So yeah, let's get a Ben Roethlisberger with this team. Sam Darnold would have probably been the other quarterback that we would have been considering there. So yeah, let's switch this over, go back down, and let me know what y'all are thinking, because I think here we have I think we actually need to go 2 QBs, to be honest. It sucks. Our running back position, let me check it out. We have Mixon, Javonte, Latavius Murray, Devin Singletary. I don't know what to say. I don't know if we messed up taking one too many wide receivers. I don't know if we just should have drafted another running back a little earlier. I'm trying to figure out what we could have done differently in this instance, because I don't necessarily like where we are, where I think we're going to be light on either quarterback or running back regardless of what we do. I think we're very strong on both wide receiver and tight end. Maybe this is just me saying I'm not as comfortable with the Travis Kelce builds at the very top. I understand that they have pretty much the highest ceiling that you can find. But yeah, let me know what y'all are thinking. Let me know what y'all are thinking. Dwayne says, speaking of stacks, which are the best teams to go into drafts looking to stack in your opinion based on ADP? My man, I made an entire video breaking down that one thing. Literally just look up the #1 draft strategy for fantasy football, Fantasy Flock Network, and it'll be the top thing that pops up. It has a picture of the Seattle Seahawks stack on the very cover, and we uploaded it about 2 weeks ago. So definitely go check out that entire video because we have a ton of information on those stacks there. Okay, so now we have Marquez Callaway. Okay, so we need to see these wide receivers going off the board. After we've already kind of committed to not drafting another wide receiver based on us taking Paris Campbell in the 14th as our 8th wide receiver on this team, we're begging that wide receivers and tight ends start to get drafted. Okay, so let me check real quick how many subscribers we're at. We passed 20. Oh, okay. I think the subscriber count maybe is messed up on my phone. We'll figure that out later. Okay, so Jameis Winston at the 1704. Okay, so now let's pull this back up, try to figure out where we are going to be at. Okay, so at the 1707, we're going to be down between quarterback and running back. Actually, wait, do we have 2 more picks? Oh, thank God. We have 2 more picks. We did great on this team. Ignore what I was saying earlier. I thought we only had 1 more pick for whatever reason. I didn't realize that we were only in the 17th and not the 18th round. Okay, so we can get another quarterback and we can get another running back. So at QB, Jared Goff does go. Do we want to take Carson Wentz or do we want to take Cam Newton? I'm actually going to plan on taking Carson Wentz. That I think we get more games started out of Wentz. Or do we want... No, we have to go Wentz because I don't think we're going to get another quarterback falling to us. So yeah, we're going to go Wentz here. And we're going to take our favorite running back available to us in the 18th. Now, of course, I don't love taking Carson Wentz, but I think we're fine with him at the 1707. Casey says, yo, Mason, just punched your code into Underdog. Thanks for helping me win my league last year. Casey, no, man, thank you so much for coming out, supporting the channel. Like I said, there's nothing more you can do to support the channel than using promo code FLOCK into Underdog. So thank you so much, Casey, my dude. David says, how do we see the draft guide? Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, and then all you have to do is find me on Discord, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, wherever you want. I mean, the links or my Twitter app, my Instagram app, whatever it is all in the description of the video. Then go through and just shoot me a DM. Say, hey, Mason, I use promo code FLOCK on Underdog. Here's my email address so you can confirm. Then I'll go through. I'll do boop, boop, boop. Take me 30 seconds. I'll confirm that you signed up with promo code FLOCK based on that email. And then you'll have the draft guide sent directly over to you. I will be sending out all draft guides after this live stream tonight. Usually I spend out like an hour sending out those draft guides and writing those thank you letters. So yeah, please make sure you do that right now. That way I can get you that draft guide tonight. And of course, if you're watching this video tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, I do the same exact thing when you are watching this video. I'm checking Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Discord over and over and over again for those DMs. That way I can make sure I'm getting everybody who supported the channel with promo code FLOCK that draft guide. Okay, so now Amari Rodgers at the 1801. Okay, so here we're locking ourselves into a running back just from a roster construction standpoint. Let me slide up and show everybody the draft board at the very top in case you came in late and you missed out on anything. Okay, so really here we built around tight end and wide receiver. I actually really like this team. I kind of panicked for a second just because I thought we weren't going to get another pick to draft a running back, which definitely we needed a running back in this format. So we pulled this up now. I know a lot of people like it, Kenneth Gainwell. I have no idea why Underdog calls him Kenny Gainwell. His name's Kenneth Gainwell. You know what? Jerick McKinnon has been getting rave reviews out of Kansas City camp right now. I mean, I actually have Darrell Williams on a lot of teams, given the fact that I believed that Darrell Williams was going to be the starting running back. The starting running back if you actually had a Clyde Edwards-Helaire injury. But I think it's sounding like it's Jerick McKinnon. Ramondre Stevenson is available, so we're going to go with Ramondre Stevenson. Just because I think Stevenson has the path where he could eventually work his role into the offense regardless of if an injury occurred to Damian Harris or not. So I think maybe has a slightly lower ceiling, but I think the floor is actually going to be a little bit higher with his chances to contribute to a starting lineup. Okay, Jeremy says, hey, Mason, could you take a look at mine again as well, P. Brain? Okay, yes, sir. Let me look at yours. Okay, CMC, Harris, A.J. Brown, Kyle Pitts. I mean, first 6 rounds, First 6 rounds, fantastic. I don't know what I think about Russell Wilson in the 7th when you didn't get DK Metcalf on this team or Tyler Lockett. Who did you pass up on? You passed up on the opportunity to really just go, my best available would have been a Chase Edmonds there. So I think that I would actually prefer to see you go Chase Edmonds and then a quarterback. Like I would prefer most likely Chase Edmonds and Joe Burrow compared to Russell Wilson and Raheem Mostert. That's just a small little complaint that I have. Not wide receiver. I love the value of Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman. I really like Gus Edwards there. Jalen Reagor, Cole Beasley, Jared Cook. Who else could he gotten? I mean, Jared Cook, I definitely prefer Hunter Henry. I prefer Hunter Henry and Cole Kmet over Jared Cook. I don't know if it's just me being a little bit biased against those old people. And yeah, so it looks like I am not going to even necessarily have to show you all the draft board just because we just did so. So let me get started on setting up this next league. And guys, please let me know. Are y'all wanting a $50 or a $5 draft for this next one? Just spam the chat, whatever you're wanting. And yeah, and then we'll set it up because I'm setting it up right now. I'm going to send it in the live chat. I'll specify what the price is before you join, and I'll send it out. Just say, here's the blank dollar league that we are starting. Okay, let's go. Says Mason, what do you think about Kyle Pitts? The best tight end prospect to ever come into the NFL. That's why he got drafted higher than any tight end ever. You look at the age-adjusted production off the charts, the size-adjusted athleticism off the charts. I mean, just fantastic for Kyle Pitts. But the problem is rookies historically don't produce as tight ends. Okay, so we have a vote for 50, 55, 5, 55, 50, 50, 55, 5, 5, 5, 5. I mean, no, 5, 50, 50, 50, 50, 5, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. Okay, so we're going to go with a $50 draft. My dudes, I think that's the easiest way for me to figure that out, just saying it out loud, seeing what sticks. Okay, so we're going to do a $50 league. Let me get this set up. I will send the link out in the general chat. Like I said, this is a private draft. Don't go join a draft in the lobby thinking that you're getting on the live stream in this draft. No, it's going to be a draft that we are sending out in the live chat right now. Okay. So tomorrow, I promise you, we'll be doing more $5 drafts. Guys, if you have not already, just subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell. Most importantly, you have to hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to know when we're live streaming so you can come out. You can hop in some $5, some $50, some $100 drafts with us. Okay, so let me send this out. $50 draft now. Okay, so we just sent that out. Let's go says, hey, chat, can I borrow $50? My man, I bet you no person in the chat's going to give you $50, but I know who's going to give you $25. And who's going to give you $25 is Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, make a $10 deposit with promo code FLOCK. So I definitely would advise you to go get $25 from Underdog Fantasy. And guys, drop a like. Get us the 101. This is a $50 draft. And y'all did not drop the like because we get the 103 for like the third time. Okay, so you know what? I really want to do it. I really want to drop Davante Adams here. This is actually, I'm going to have to do this because this is another reason why I really want to be doing as many drafts as possible because it gives you a great idea of what kind of roster you can construct. So I think if we go Adams here, no, the thing is, I'm just thinking out loud, my dudes. I'm going to go Adams. I think I'll really like to start if we get Adams at the 103. Obviously, I can say this out loud because you're going to have Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have Dalvin Cook going at the 101 and 102. So we're going to lock in Davante Adams here. And this draft is going to be a main, I don't want to say the main thing, but a big part of my decision-making on if we decide to officially move Davante Adams up to the 103, depending on how I think you can get a build going with Davante Adams with this start. So please, guys, let me know what y'all think of this because I'm just looking at Adams as someone that has such a high floor ceiling combination with an Alvin Kamara who is currently ranked as my third player overall. Obviously, you do have the slight concern of Taysom Hill taking away those touches at the goal line. And at the same time, if Taysom Hill's playing, there's going to be less dump off passes. If you told me Jameis Winston plays all 16 weeks, I'm taking Alvin Kamara and I'm not even thinking about it. But with the red flag that you have Taysom Hill, we're just going to take Davante Adams here at the 103. Casey says, Cook won me my league last year. Yeah, Dalvin Cook's going to go at the 102 here to JN. Okay, so we get some regulars out here in this $50 league. We get Jimmy Changa. We get Nash is Cash. We get Fantasy Flock. We get Tan Solo, Rugger. Let's Zachary Link, Fork Nasty, Jonah. Okay, so we have some regulars out in this draft. We have some new people, it looks like, as well. Okay, my heart is beating. This is a $50 draft. This is a high-stakes draft. We should have tried this in the $5. We should have tried this in the $5. We should have stuck it with Alvin Kamara in the 50. But let me know what y'all are thinking, my dudes. JN says, threw up making that pick. Why did you throw up making the Dalvin Cook selection? I mean, Dalvin Cook is easy. Okay, so Putt Life gets Alvin Kamara at the 105. That is massive. Okay, so David says, I just joined and deposited $10 on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. How do I get my draft guide? My man, like I said, literally all you have to do is shoot me a DM on either Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Patreon, wherever you can. Say, Mason, hey man, I just deposited $10 on Underdog with promo code FLOCK. Here's the email address I signed up for the account with. That way you can confirm, and then I'll confirm, and I'll send you that draft guide directly through that email address. It isn't set up automatically for people to get the draft guide just because not everybody signing up with promo code FLOCK is doing so for the draft guide. A lot of people are just doing it for the free $25 that Underdog is giving them. A lot of people are doing it just because it significantly helps the channel and they want to support it. So yes, please shoot me that DM. If you don't have a Twitter, if you don't have an Instagram, if you aren't in our Patreon, I will send out a link to our free Discord chat. I'm not trying to get you to sign up for anything. You don't need to put in an email. You don't need to put in a credit card. You don't need anything. You just click the link, choose a nickname, and you can shoot me a DM. Okay, so yeah, guys, you have to stick around for the end of this draft. You have to stick around and see how a Davante Adams team at the 103 gets built, okay? Because I'm a little nervous here. I'm not going to lie. Okay, Let's Go says, hey, Mason, what is the draft guide? Okay, so the draft guide has my rankings. It has my tiers. It has an in-depth breakdown mathematically with charts and everything on how you should be adjusting for your league format. If you want to know how you should play with 3 starting wide receivers versus 2, with 2 flex spots versus 1, with 12 teams versus 10 teams, with super flex versus 1 quarterback, with PPR versus half PPR. I break that all down in the draft guide. Also, there are like hundreds of pages of player profiles. We also have our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide. I'm sending everybody who signs up with promo code FLOCK at the same time, which has historical research based on what rookie prospects do coming into the NFL, where they should be going in fantasy drafts. So yeah, I mean, there's a bajillion things in that draft guide, my man. I mean, I put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into it. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins, Jonathan Taylor falling to the 206. Okay, so it looks like our initial thoughts of Jonathan Taylor probably should fall to the mid-second round. That's been happening in these drafts right now. Okay, so let's see. DK Metcalf goes. Okay, this is going to be nerve-wracking what happens at the 210. Let's Go says, oh, wow, I'm going to have to sign up. Yes, sir, you are going to have to sign up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. Dwayne says, a draft guide is worth it alone. Add the free $25 Underdog gives you, and it's a no-brainer. Oh, our draft guide, guys, I guarantee you, I mean, people have asked me to sell our draft guide on its own and not do it through Underdog or not do it through Patreon. Literally, the reason I'm doing it through these ways is because if I had to put a price tag on the draft guide would probably be like $75. And it costs you a $10 deposit and you get paid $25 to do it. It's because we have an unbelievable sponsorship with Underdog Fantasy that y'all need to take advantage of. Now, Tan Solo goes AJ Brown here. Okay, so I was planning on taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire when we said out loud that we were going to be going. I was planning on CEH. I don't know if we go Darren Waller now, though. I'm really having to think about this because if we go running back in the, like if we started with Alvin Kamara here, we're going Darren Waller without thinking about it. I think we go Darren Waller. We're going Waller. It's risky. We're shooting for upside. This is going to be a very volatile strategy, and I really want to know your thoughts on it. So, yeah, we're going Adams and Darren Waller. Okay, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 211. Justin Jefferson at the 212. And Tommy Sosa says, how did you come up with your YouTube name, Fantasy Flock Network? I actually was in a fantasy football group chat that was called The Flock, and I actually started a podcast with some buddies that I met through that. So I just called it. I was like, hey, if anybody from the group chat wants to come on my podcast, you can. And oh my God, this... If I knew we were getting Kittle in the third, I would have taken CEH. CEH would have been the pick. Now we have to go Swift. We messed that up so badly, guys. We messed that up. The 2v2 that we should have had, like I already said, we tried to go back-to-back tight end earlier on in a draft earlier tonight. It did not work out at all. We learned our lesson. We can't take Darren Waller, George Kittle on the same team. It doesn't work from a roster construction standpoint. So the 2v2 that we're looking at is Clyde Edwards-Helaire and George Kittle versus Darren Waller and DeAndre Swift. I think the clear answer here would have been Clyde Edwards-Helaire and George Kittle. And I thought about that in my head about the possibility of that George Kittle falling to us. We should have passed on Darren. Now that I think about it, because we would have had to bet the both JN or Chimichanga, they were both going to draft the tight ends there. That was a massive mistake by me. It's not, I don't want to sit here and act like I got unlucky or anything. It was a bad decision against me. Okay, Let's Go says, wait, but what if I use the draft guide against you? My man, I want you to use the draft guide against me. I mean, these drafts are extremely challenging because everybody has access to my rankings. Everybody has access to my exact thought process. So yeah, I definitely want you to use promo code FLOCK, get that $10 deposit in, get your $25 bonus, and at the same time, get my draft guide, get my rankings, and come up against me, my man. And guys, please drop a like on the stream just to make me feel a little bit better about messing up that 2-3 turn horribly. This draft, if we would have started it optimally, what we should have done, I think a start that I would have liked a lot more is Kamara, Waller, Swift. No, I think the play was Adams was correct. I think Adams was fine in the first, but I think what we messed up is when you take Adams in the first, I think when Clyde Edwards-Helaire falls to you in the second, you have to take CEH. I think that's the mistake that we actually made there. Okay, so yeah, I actually like Adams in the first. The problem here was that second round pick. We had a gift looking at us in the face of CEH falling to the 210, and we passed up on it. Dwayne says, thoughts on Zachary's 3 wide receiver start? Let me find it real quick. Okay, Zachary goes Hill, Hopkins, and Evans. Okay, so I'm fine going Hill, Hopkins. I think that's great value. I think he's going to have a hard time. Mike Evans, I don't necessarily agree with, just because I don't think you're seeing a screaming wide receiver value fall to you. If that was an Allen Robinson, sure, start 3 wide receivers. But I think you're more so trying to force something there, which I fall in victim to do all the time, rather than actually just getting value where it falls to you. So I think he takes Julio Jones. He starts off 4 wide receivers. I think that team would look a lot better. Instead of having Mike Evans, it would have J.K. Dobbins. I know what he's trying to accomplish there. And trust me, I've tried to do the same thing over and over and over again. But yeah, I think the play there would have most likely been to go with Dobbins over Evans. Okay, so DJ Moore in the 4th as well. And also in the 4th here, we don't need a slam-in wide receiver value if we don't want to, just because we do have Devontae Adams and gives us such an edge. Jonas says 3 straight drafts and I've been sniped on Robert Woods. What's disgusting is because I've been drafting literally just in picks 7, 6, and 3 in 99% of these drafts. I have no idea why I'm only getting these draft slots. I haven't been able to draft Robert Woods a lot because, I mean, he's going at this 3-4 turn. I have to take Allen Robinson over him. Okay, so now we are about to be on the clock. Okay, so a player that I'm possibly interested in is still available. Okay, so let's see where Tansolo decides to go after going running back, wide receiver, tight end. He goes T. Higgins. Of course, he snipes us on T. Higgins. So now that's going to be a drastic fall off at wide receiver. Now we're just going to take Josh Jacobs. We're going to take Jacobs. Like I said, guys, Jacobs, when he was going above wide receivers earlier this offseason, like Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, he was going above CeeDee Lamb, I'm pretty sure at one point. I was screaming that he was so overrated in the beginning of the 3rd round. But now that we're getting him at the end of the 4th, when we're only really drafting him over like Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, I think we're fine with Josh Jacobs at the 410. Party Till She's Hot says, I love the flock. Underdog Fantasy was the best thing to happen to this surging channel. Yes, sir. No, Underdog Fantasy and the Fantasy Flock Network is a match made in heaven. Literally nothing could have been better. You don't know how excited I am about this. And I have gotten so many positive reviews as well from people reaching out to me, especially after I send them the draft guide. I've gotten the nicest comments ever about the draft guide, but people also telling me along with those messages how much fun they've been having on Underdog. Okay, so now we can't go tight end. Quarterback, really not going to be looking at anybody here. Wide receiver, I think we go Deontay Johnson, just lock in some targets. I'm not going to be reaching for a running back here when we have those guaranteed touches. I'm not a fan of Deontay Johnson really, but I think if we're ever going to draft him, it's going to be here. So our start so far at wide receiver, we have Adams, Deontay. At running back, we have Swift, Jacobs. At tight end, we have Darren Waller. The mistake that we made in this draft that I want to point out, I'm fine with our 1st round pick. I'm fine with our 4th. I'm fine with our 5th. The mistake was that 2nd round pick going Darren Waller over Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I'm doing in the majority of my drafts. except when you take Adams in the first. When you take Adams in the first, I think you're at a priority need to get those running backs elsewhere, where if we would have started this draft off with Adams, CH, Kittle, that would have been the best. Okay, Masked Enigma comes out, says Mason drafted Deontay. Yes, you're very rarely going to see me draft Deontay Johnson, but a big thing is, I mean, Kenny Golladay with the injury, I think we kind of have to move up Deontay Johnson just slightly over Kenny Golladay, and I'm not a massive fan of taking the elite quarterbacks there. And also, guys, if you have not dropped a like on the live stream, drop a like, help us out, get us over 600 likes on this live stream. That would be absolutely massive. Also, let me see how many subscribers we are at. Let's see if we are still going closer to 27.5. Okay, we are going closer to 27.5 over and over and over again, just getting inches closer. Okay, so now we have Myles Gaskin, Darrell Henderson at the 506, 507. Okay, so Kyler Murray at the 505. Okay, Dylan says, Mason, do you think Ertz could be good again if he's traded out of Philly? I think he could be a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2. He's never going to be the elite producer as he was before. And what's interesting about Zach Ertz, if you go back and you actually look at his elite seasons, which weren't too long ago, it was like 2 to 3 years ago, he was never doing so based off of efficiency, where you look at a guy like a George Kittle. George Kittle's not even getting that many targets. George Kittle's just being dominant with the targets that he does see. And in the case of Zach Ertz, it was just he was getting so much usage in that offense that he was just someone that was kind of beating people down based on targets alone. So I don't think a team's going to be willing to give him that amount of targets again, and he's never showed the ability to be efficient. So yeah, no, he's not going to have the potential to go out there and be really anything close to what he ever was. Party Toshi's Hot says, you didn't make a mistake. People overlooked Kittle. You know, I would have sniped you if I was in on this one, big dog. Yes, sir, man. You should have hopped in on this one, my man. Okay, so Jerry Jeudy at the 512. Okay, so that is about where Jerry Jeudy used to go. Now, Jerry Jeudy, of course, has been falling in drafts lately. I've actually had to take him sometimes in the 6th, 7th round when he falls to the very back end like here. I'm happy to see him go off and Courtland Sutton go off because it's going to push wide receivers that we'd rather have a little further down to us. So finally, we'll get a chance to draft them. I mean, I'm drafting Javonte Williams over Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton every single draft. Ryan says, Mason, does your draft guide have best ball rankings on each player? My man, actually, I definitely need to go through and I'm going to add best ball rankings. I don't know if I'm going to add them to the draft guide. I think instead I'm going to just add them to Patreon. But yes, I do need to create best ball rankings because you can tell I'm not even really drafting off of my rankings for this league because I optimized my rankings based on the leagues that I believe that you're playing in. I actually go through and I lay out that exact league format that my rankings are optimized for. And I lay out exactly how you adjust based on what research we have done, saying, okay, we're transitioning from this format to this one, yada, 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 yada. Okay, so Chase Edmonds at the 605, Kenny Golladay at the 606. I actually really do like this Lamar Jackson value at the 604. I mean, if you're going to draft an elite quarterback, you get a guy that has that rushing upside, getting him in the middle of the 6, right before Kenny Golladay, Chase Edmonds. You're getting him on the same team that you have a J.K. Dobbins. So yeah, I think that Lamar Jackson's actually a pretty damn good pick there. Okay, so now we are going to be up on the clock. Michael Gallup goes. We are 2 picks away. Okay, so here in this draft, we have gone DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, and Darren Waller. Okay, so we are 1 pick away. I'm very excited. We're either going to be coming away with TJ Hawkinson or Kareem Hunt. Okay, so he goes, no, Tan Solo. It just depends. Does he go Hawkinson? Does he go Hunt? Because the teams after us, both JN and Chimichanga, neither of them have a tight end so far. Tan Solo actually has George Kittle. So yeah, he's most likely going to be going with Kareem Hunt. So I don't think that this is something you should be doing very often, but when TJ Hawkinson, in my opinion, is by far and away the best player available, when we don't have a stack presented with a Dak Prescott, we're going to go with the Hawkinson. That's going to be something that we're going to, I could be wrong with. We're going to go with the Hawkinson though. We're going to see how it plays out. We're done drafting tight ends now. Possibly it pushes tight ends up the board just slightly now that both Waller and Hawkinson are on the same team, and we can get some wide receiver value later. If Kareem Hunt would have fallen to us, that would have been perfect, but obviously he doesn't. Now, JN is in the chat right now saying that he hates us for taking TJ Hawkinson, But yeah, my man, I just think when Hawkinson falls to the 6'10", I have to take him. I actually have TJ Hawkinson ranked above Kyle Pitts in our draft guide and in our rankings over there on Patreon. Okay, so Laviska Shenault at the 6'12". Dak Prescott at the 7'01". Okay, we probably would have gone Dak in the 7th, even without a stack, just because it would have been too good a value to actually pass up on. So now if we're going to go through, we're going to be only looking at really running back and wide receiver here. Trey Sermon goes right before us. Sermon would have been someone we would have considered. Now I think that we actually go with... Is it too much of a reach to take my man Juju here? We have Deontay Johnson on this same team. Juju and Deontay kind of run routes in the similar area of the football field. They both have a low average depth of target. We're going to get Juju anyway. That could be a bad pick. I just love Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm going to get him in the 7th when we can. We need the pick there was wide receiver. We had to go wide receiver once JN decided to take Trey Sermon. Okay, so yeah, I'll say that I actually earlier this offseason on our Dynasty channel, I was screaming into the wind that you had to have TJ Hawkinson ranked ahead of Kyle Pitts. Since the Julio Jones trade and the projected volume that Kyle Pitts has in year 1, I've had to walk that back. I was wrong on that statement. You do want Kyle Pitts over TJ Hawkinson in Dynasty, but in 2021 redraft, I definitely prefer having TJ Hawkinson over Kyle Pitts. Okay, Mike says, get Juju. Brett says, Michael Thomas. Okay, guys, like I've said this before, but if you're playing in a non-best ball format where you have access to the waiver wire, you submit your starting lineup each and every week, Michael Thomas, given the upside that he has for the playoffs there, is going to be fantastic. Of course, you love going and chasing Michael Thomas. But in the case of a format like this, where you need points all 16 weeks to count towards your score at the end, I actually prefer having a Juju Smith-Schuster because we know that those spike week potentials at the very beginning is most likely going to outweigh what you get from a Michael Thomas. So yeah, it's a little bit of a boring pick, but I think that Thomas, well, yes, in a regular league, I would actually take Michael Thomas way before where he's going to go here, way before. But in a format like this, just those injured players are going to be at a pretty big discount. Boris says, I really want to do a money drop, but I live in Australia. My man, I am very sorry to hear that. What we've actually done is because I know a lot of people overseas are not able to get into these underdog drafts, and I promise you I am very sorry about that. Just please understand that this was the best decision for the channel. Like I said, I mean, this was a match made in heaven between Underdog and Fantasy Flock Network. Now, hopefully, Underdog goes overseas very soon. It's not going to happen this season. I can guarantee that. Hopefully, by next year, they are over there. But what we're actually also doing is we're hosting leagues on our Dynasty channel as well through Patreon that are not going to be on Underdog. That way you can get in those. And what I've been doing is I've been making the announcements to get in those leagues over on Patreon extremely late. Like last night, I made the announcement after I got done working. It was like 2 a.m. So those people that were waking up in Germany, they were actually able to come out and hop into draft. Okay. James says, do another $5 draft tonight, and I'll send you that Josh Allen jersey. LOL, JK. My man, you got me excited. I was about to say, okay, we're firing up a 5th draft for tonight. James actually won a Josh Allen jersey in a giveaway. Not just a Josh Allen jersey, but a Josh Allen signed jersey. That is awesome. Okay, P. Cujita says, just use the promo code, my boy. My man, thank you so much. Please, please, please. Shoot me a DM on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Discord, literally wherever you can reach me. I'll send out my Discord link in the chat at the end of the stream if you can't find it anywhere else, but it's in the description of literally every single video. Just shoot me a DM. Say, Mason, I use promo code FLOCK. Here's my email so you can verify it. That way I can get you your 2021 draft guide. Okay, let's go through Ronald Jones. Okay, after these wide receivers. So running back, when we have Swift, Jacobs, of course, running back is going to be a small priority. Just literally when we pull up a draft, okay, Dallas Goedert, we need to see those tight ends going off. We need to see tight ends going off because we can't draft one. Like I can't even pull up the tight end tab. I mean, it's going to be just, okay, can we get rid of this? Okay, it's just going to be quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Now that we're at the end of the 8th round, like what I was already talking about, now here, this is the range that this is the first draft we've taken Michael Thomas in one of these best balls. That's going to be the first one. Let me move this over here so everybody can see my team so far. So on this team, at running back, we have Swift, Josh Jacobs. At wide receiver, we have Davante Adams, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Thomas. At tight end, we have Darren Waller and TJ Hawkinson. So yeah, Michael Thomas, I've been fading him a lot because usually he's going in the 7th round range alongside Juju, Tyler Boyd, Devontae Smith. But if we're getting him here at the 8-10, I'm fine with it. A.J. Dillon at the 901. Okay. So let's see where Jane decides to go. Let's double check our buys real quick. Okay, our buys are okay. We have a couple guys in week 7, but that's because we have players from the same team. So Jane decides to go with Rondale Moore. So given this is a best ball format, those players that are going to get guaranteed touches at the beginning of the year, they're going to be extremely valuable. So James Robinson in a full PPR, I'm going to be a little less excited about because Travis Etienne's going to get all the receiving down usage. But here with James Robinson, it's a half PPR, so that matters slightly less. And also, we need a running back 3 for this team. I love this start so far, my dudes. Please let me know what y'all think of this team. This team is disgusting in my opinion. Let me pull this up one more time. Let me hide the video so y'all can see the entire draft board. So in the first, we went Davante Adams. In the second, we went Darren Waller. In the third, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Deontay Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Thomas, and James Robinson. I think this is perfect. Okay, Mondo says, as someone who hosts numerous leagues, any advice to discuss before the draft to ensure a smooth year rules-wise? You have to be very clear on the rules. You have to lay out the rules before people join the league. And then you have to say, if we're going to change any rule, we need this amount of votes to do so. And then if anybody wants to propose something to actually go through and make that change, they're more than welcome to. But it's not like it's just a simple majority, because the majority of people, if you lay out the rules before y'all start the league, they're joining understanding the rules. So if they join understanding the rules, if a rule needs to be changed, just say 75% of people need a vote that rule needs to be changed. Okay. So Dwayne says, why pass on the chance to stack Adams and Aaron Rodgers? To be completely honest, that's something I probably should have given more thought in doing. But while stacks are great, and of course I'm chasing stacks wherever I can, I think that our need to make sure that we had guaranteed running back touches after only having 2 running backs in the first 8 rounds and passing on running backs in the first and second round, that's at a slightly higher priority than actually going through and completing those stacks. So I'm all about stacking. That's what I talk about in a ton of streams. But I think here where you actually have a hole on a position that you need to fill in the best ball format, you can't fill that through the waiver wire. That's going to be slightly more important than completing that stack. Okay, so now we have 570 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. Justin says, I was going to take Thomas at the 901. My wide receivers would have been deep. Let me see where you would have been at the 901 if you had Michael Thomas. You would have gone Jefferson, Lamb, Ayuk, Shenault. Yeah, that would have been unfair, my man. I'm glad I stopped that from happening. Yeah, Tanner says getting your running back 3 was probably more important. Yeah, if we would have taken like a Kamara in the first instead, then yeah, I probably would have gone with a quarterback there if it was going to complete a stack for us. But I think that just based on the fact that we really passed on the luxury running backs at the very top, we need to start getting some guaranteed touches in here, like a guy like James Robinson. I would have preferred to have a higher ceiling with someone like an A.J. Dillon, but still, Robinson I'm going to be fine with. Justin said, what is your share percentage of DJ Moore roughly? I'm actually going to be making a video like that. I'm going to wait like another week of these live streams, because if we're doing 3 or 4 drafts a night, I'll have like 50 drafts done by then, and I can go through and I can talk about my most owned players. So of course, if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, but I'm definitely going to wait until we're in a few more leagues. So the overall, hopefully I draft in more spots, because right now, I swear to God, I've been drafting 3, 6, and 7 over and over and over again. Okay. So now we are about to be back on the clock in this team. We have gone 0 quarterback, 3 running back, 4 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. So possibly we go with another running back here. Wide receiver is kind of a luxury. We can't go tight end, so let's get rid of tight end. Okay, so Ryan Tannehill goes. So I don't think we're going to be reaching on. Maybe if we got George Kittle instead of Darren Waller, we take Trey Lance here. But instead, I think we possibly get. The teams behind us look a little soft on running back. So we're going to go get our fourth running back here, especially when we decided to pass on running backs in the first and second round. We're going to get James Conner. As someone, I definitely prefer Chase Edmonds in a vacuum, but obviously you understand that you're having to get Chase Edmonds a full 3 rounds ahead of him, in this case 4 rounds. And with James Conner, it's essentially going, okay, well, maybe he gets the goal line roll in Arizona. If he gets the goal line roll, then he can have some spike weeks. And then at the same time, I mean, if Chase Edmonds goes down, then James Conner becomes a 3-down running back and one of the best offenses in football. So yeah, we are going to get Conner there at the 10-10. James says, just signed up for Underdog with the flock. Thank you so much, my man. I wish we could get like a notification, like an alert or something when someone would sign and your name would pop up on the screen. There's just no, maybe there's a way to integrate it. I just don't know it. Okay, so Tony Pollard. Yeah, so running backs go after us and we get the wide receiver that we wanted to fall back anyway. I think we go Rashad Bateman here, given the Devontae Parker injury. I know Devontae Parker is saying that he is currently okay, but still, we've actually drafted Devontae Parker in a lot of drafts later than this. We haven't had the opportunity to get Rashad Bateman in that many. Maybe Parker would have been better since we're having to wait on Michael Thomas anyway, and we need kind of points at the beginning of the year. But let me go through and let me show off this team, mainly because I'm proud of this team. And I think that after this draft, I'm actually really going to go through and I'm going to move Davante Adams up to our 3rd player overall. I'm moving him over Alvin Kamara. I'm probably going to move Alvin Kamara a tier down, given the news that we have possibly about Taysom Hill starting games. If Taysom Hill does come in, Taysom Hill starts a decent amount of games. I think you have to lower Alvin Kamara down. So we're going to have Adams at 3, Waller at 2, Swift in the 3rd, Jacobs in the 4th, Deontay in the 5th, Hawkinson in the 6th, Juju 7, Thomas 8, Robinson 9, Connor 10, Rashad Bateman 11. Caleb says, Mason, I feel like you have 100% a James Conner ownership. I do have a lot of James Conner. I will say that we have a lot of James Conner just because he's falling really far. He's a part of a great offense. I mean, if you're a running back, a part of a great offense, and you can potentially be getting touches, and at the same time, we've seen you be a bell cow before. I mean, I'm fine drafting you in the 10-10. Maybe Melvin Gordon was the better pick there. Melvin Gordon was probably the better pick now that we say this out loud, but it is what it is. I think Connor and Melvin Gordon are going to be very close for us. XPup says, I think he forgot his quarterbacks. Honestly, I'm kind of fine going through. And what's great is at the tight end position, we're only having to draft 2 guys. We're not having to overload with wide receivers in this format. So I'm fine actually drafting 3 quarterbacks on this construction, especially when we don't need 6 running backs. I think we'll be fine with 5 running backs. So yeah, I think that we're definitely planning on drafting 3 QBs here, and we're going to be fine with it, to be completely honest. Mike says Adams is going to be the number 1 player overall in Mason's rankings by the time the season starts. Honestly, he may be. He may be. Obviously, he would never go over Christian McCaffrey. I mean, if I ever start talking about ranking Davante Adams over Christian McCaffrey, y'all will need to unsubscribe from the channel and report me for spam. That's what y'all would need to do. But maybe if the draft hype really starts to get to me, I start trying to put Davante Adams over Dalvin Cook. I doubt it happens. There's no way it happens. The reason Dalvin Cook is the clear running back 2 is based on the fact that he really doesn't have the same red flags that any of the other running backs do. So yeah, I think that Davante Adams at 3 is going to be official. JN says his draft sucks. Let's go through. Let's look at JN's draft. Okay, love Cook, love CEH. I think that in the 3rd, you needed to go with a George Kittle. I think if you go George Kittle, especially when you get, Kittle, I think that draft would have been a lot better if you take Kittle there over Keenan, because now you don't have a single tight end. You're going to have to roster 3 in this format. So yeah, I think that maybe that was the mistake on this team. Okay, so Hines at the 1207. Troutman goes off the board. That's good for us. We don't want tight ends. We don't need tight ends. JN needs one behind us. Maybe he has to reach on one. Okay, so here we're just going to be getting a quarterback that we know is playing all 16 games. We're just going to be drafting Matt Ryan. Just a very strong pick for a best ball format because you know he's playing all 16 games. Hewitt says, how big of a TD regression can we expect from Green Bay? Pretty damn big, because Aaron Rodgers did lead the NFL in his touchdown rate last year. But like I've already discussed, I actually think a lot of those touchdowns are going to regress from Robert Tonyan. And yes, they're regressing from Davante Adams as well. I mean, Davante Adams isn't going to be scoring more touchdowns than games he plays next year. Of course, that's going to be the case. But with the case of Davante Adams, we have seen him have a career number that's higher than league average with his touchdown rate already. And to go along with this is someone that has that red zone role. And with Davante Adams, we went through and we looked at his points per game numbers in games that he did not leave early due to injury. We identified that he put up the best wide receiver season of all time. If you take away 10% of that production, he still puts up the best wide receiver season of all time. So, I mean, if he regresses 20%, I mean, he's still a top 10 wide receiver of all time. James says CMC just got injured. Check Twitter. There's literally no way that happened. Okay. It's 11:05. How are you going to tell me CMC got injured? Did he just accidentally hurt his hand in a blender? Do we take Alexander Mattison? I think we take Alexander Mattison. Okay, so this is a team that I think has a ton of upside. Okay, so we go through at QB. We have Matt Ryan. At running back, we have Swift, Jacobs, Robinson, Connor, Madison. At wide receiver, we have Adams, Deontay, Juju, Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman. At tight end, we have Darren Waller and TJ Hawkinson. Okay, so now let's pull JD McKissic. It goes directly after Alexander Mattison. We probably would have gone with another quarterback if either a Kirk Cousins or a Tua Tagovailoa fell to us. But no, once they go, I mean, we're just going to be locking in the running back. Jonah says he broke his toe while sleeping. That's pretty funny, my dude. Okay, Vlad subscribing to the channel. Let me give some shout outs to the people subscribing to the channel and joining the flock right about now. We have Vlad, Joel, James, Michael, him, David, Morel, Devin, and I believe that's it over the past 6 or so minutes. Sam says CMC hurt his foot trying to cook bacon on his George Foreman. That is hilarious, my man. Okay, guys, we are 25 likes away from 600 likes on the live stream. If you have yet to drop a like on the live stream, make sure you drop a like. And more importantly, if you have yet to use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, make sure you do so. I'm sending out a ton of draft guides tonight. I can almost let me look up my Twitter real quick and just see exactly how many draft guides I'm going to be sending out on Twitter alone. I'm sure we're going to be sending out way more as well on Discord. So let me look this up because it's probably a lot. How many DMs do I have? Okay, yeah, I have approximately 14 DMs on that one Twitter account. On the other Twitter account, I have 9 DMs. That's 25 there. I don't even know how many I have on Instagram. Probably have a ton on Discord. Probably have some on Patreon. We probably have like 100 draft guides to send out tonight. So please make sure if you signed up with promo code FLOCK on Underdog that you shoot me a DM on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Patreon. Let me know that you did. Give me your email so I can confirm. I'm going to be getting those all out tonight, but there's going to be like 100 of them, guys. So please give me some time because it's going to take me hours to send those out. But I promise you, you're going to get them tonight. I will probably stay up until about probably like 1 a.m. realistically, not 2 a.m. because this is going to be our last draft of the night. Okay, so Bogoat says, Mason, what are your thoughts on this draft? I am loving it. Okay, so let's go through. Bogoat, are you Rugger? Can you remind me? What is your team name again? I am sorry, my man. I believe it's Rugger, but definitely let me know. Okay, so Hunter Henry at the 11:04. So we need to see tight ends going off the draft board. The more tight ends, the better for us. Okay, so Baker Mayfield at the 14:01. Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is just flying up in these drafts, and I think in a regular league where you have access to the waiver wire, you can stream the quarterback position if Deshaun Watson is suspended. I mean, he is a smash pick here. I would, of course, rather have Deshaun Watson over Tua, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan. I mean, he is just a player with so much upside. But the problem is this league, you don't have access to a waiver wire. Okay, Bogo says Rugger. Okay, that's what I thought. Let me go through. Let me check this, my man. Okay, so let me also hide my screen real quick. That way everybody can see it. Okay, so Rugger went Zeke in the first, fine with it. Metcalf, McLaurin, Tyler Lockett, Henderson in the 5th. Okay, so who do you go with Henderson over? I don't like Henderson in the 5th. When you can get Kareem Hunt in the 6th, I think I prefer the combination of Odell and Kareem Hunt compared to Darrell Henderson and Michael Gallup, or probably Robbie Anderson. I like Robbie Anderson more than Odell. I probably prefer Robbie Anderson and Kareem Hunt over Darrell Henderson and Michael Gallup. In the 7th, you do get that stack with Tyler Lockett. Okay, we are on the clock real quick. We need to stop worrying about that. We need to start worrying about making our own picks in this draft. This is a $50 draft. I need to get on my game real quick. Okay, so maybe Daniel Jones, or do we go wide receiver? You know what? We have yet to draft Randall Cobb in one of these. I guess if he's sitting there at a value, and we kind of need production at the beginning of the season, given the fact that we do have Michael Thomas on this team, let's go with Randall Cobb as our 6th wide receiver. So Cole Kmet goes directly after that by JN. Of course, we want to see JN going Cole Kmet, makes his own team better. But more importantly, we drafted both TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller at the very top, so we can't be looking at another tight end. Here we have 4 more spots on this team. I think we want to be spending 2 more spots at quarterback, given the fact that our only QB as of now is Matt Ryan, and we want to be spending just say 1 more spot on running back, 1 more spot. Yeah, we need a spot on wide receiver. I think we're actually probably done. I think we probably go 2 QB here, and we probably go. We draft 2 more quarterbacks. We probably draft 2 more wide receivers. I think we may be done at running back. It's going to depend on the value mainly. Okay, so at wide receiver, I don't really see anybody that stands out. I don't really see anybody that stands out a running back that we need to have. So instead, we're just going to get Daniel Jones. I mean, of course, he gets Saquon Barkley coming back. Daniel Jones also gets Kenny Golladay coming in. He gets Kadarius Toney. And then on top of all of this, he does have some rushing upside that he did display last season. So yeah, but going back to Boggoat's team, I think we stopped last with saying that you should have probably pivoted over and gone with the 2v2 with Kareem Hunt. And I know the hindsight's 2020, but I mean, that's kind of how you look back on the draft with hindsight and go, could we have predicted this? So yeah, I probably prefer that decision. Wilson, I like it. Dallas Goedert, I like it as your tight end 1. Gage, I like it. Kenyon Drake, who do you go with Drake over? I like Kenyon Drake there. Gerald Everett at the 1106. Yeah, I like that. Naheem Hines at the 1207. That was your 4th running back. Okay, I like the Hines pick. Fitzpatrick, I hate the Fitzpatrick pick in the 13th. I mean, I really, really don't like the Fitzpatrick pick in the 13th. I mean, the fact that you're able to get someone like a Ben Roethlisberger at the very end when you know Roethlisberger is going to start all 16 games, and we can't say that for Fitzpatrick. I think that drafting Fitzpatrick over someone like a Jacoby Myers, Rob Gronkowski, Emmanuel Sanders, I think that's a very bad call. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. We are so close to 600 subscribers, my dude. I know I'm running out of steam here. I know I sound and look tired, but it's because I am. Drop a like on the live stream for the continued effort going through. We are going to be getting up another video in the morning. Now, Austin Hooper at the 1511. Okay, so Tyrell Williams. So I think this is something I need to figure out. So at wide receiver, the thing is we really need wide receiver help because we're going to be missing Thomas. That's kind of the pain in the ass about drafting Michael Thomas. So we have Adams, Deontay Johnson, Juju, Rashad Bateman. Yeah, and we definitely need to be drafting 2 more wide receivers on this team. I think we have to be done. We have to be done at running back. I don't think we have an option. We're done at running back. We're going to be drafting 2 more wide receivers. We're going to be drafting a quarterback. May not necessarily be optimal, but we are going to be crushing people at wide receiver. Tyler says, can you go over my team, por favor? Tea, coffee. Yes, sir. Let me go over that real quick. Let me put that back over there. Hide it. Okay, so tea, coffee at the end here at the 112 goes Ridley, Eckler. Ridley's definitely rising up boards. I was actually getting Ridley at the 205 earlier. It's interesting to see Ridley go. I know it's essentially the same as him going at the 201 when you're picking back-to-back, but I'm trying to figure out, do you want Ridley or do you want Antonio Gibson? Maybe I'm just too high on Antonio Gibson, but I think if you would, let's look at it this way. If you would have gone Antonio Gibson in the first and you would have started off with 4 running backs like that, then all of a sudden you could potentially be in a spot where you don't have to draft another running back throughout the entire draft. So like we look at you drafting Xavier Jones down here instead of, you could have taken a Marquez Callaway. And instead of drafting Raheem Mostert here, you could have potentially got a guy like Mecole Hardman or Curtis Samuel. And I think the difference between Gibson and Ridley isn't that much. I think that we would have really liked to see the 4 running backs start there and then not draft another running back throughout the entire time. I think that was actually kind of set up perfectly for you to do that. Okay, so now wide receiver. We can't take Demarcus Robinson with the news that Demarcus Robinson is now running behind Cornell Powell. Again, Jayen has 3 quarterbacks, so Chimichanga has 2. Okay, so look, based on looking at what's behind us, we can actually pass on the QB position. I'm fine with Roethlisberger or Sam Darnold, and Jayen can't take one, already having 3. So instead, we're going to go wide receiver here, and we're going to go with our guy in KJ Hamler. I love the talent. The problem with KJ Hamler, however, is obviously the situation being on a team that has Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Noah Fant, Albert O, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. And when you're being led off with a Teddy Bridgewater or a Drew Lock, it's going to be disgusting, the situation. But from a talent perspective, I think that KJ Hamler is a lot closer to Courtland Sutton than a lot of people think. They play like two completely different roles, but I think KJ Hamler is a stud, and people are going to see that this year. Okay. So now let's see where we are going to be going with this next pick. This next pick, we actually definitely need to be going over and getting another quarterback. Like I said, we were able to pass on QB knowing that JN wasn't able to take one when he had 3 already. And then Chimichanga was in play for one, at least I thought, but he passes on one. So it becomes a competition between Ben Roethlisberger and Sam Darnold. It looks like we have no stacks available on this team, so we're going to go Sam Darnold here. And we actually had the same exact decision last draft where we took Ben Roethlisberger on a team that we had Chase Claypool on. That's another perfect example of trying to understand how stacks, while yes, you don't want to go out there and you don't want to reach for them, they do make an impact on the small decisions that you make through the course of the draft. Okay, Justin says, can you rate Chimichanga when you get a chance? Yes, sir. Let me go through and let me rate this. Okay, so the 101, CMC, I think that this is a fantastic start through 6 rounds. I think that we probably prefer having Kittle in the 3rd round over CeeDee Lamb, but still beyond that, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying take advantage of the roster construction, just massive edge that you have over the entire field when you get the 101 with Christian McCaffrey. So you draft CMC with the 101. Then you go through and you understand that instead of taking a Mike Davis like we saw with the CMC team in the other draft, where you're just kind of chasing those touches that really don't have access to an elite ceiling, you're hammering in wide receiver value. And then when you do see running back upside that falls to you with the Travis Etienne in the 5th round, you take it. I mean, that is a fantastic start. You get a Dak Prescott stack in the 7th round, get your first tight end in Noah Fant. So a big thing is if we're looking at Noah Fant versus the other wide receivers in that range, do you prefer having, I guess you probably do prefer having CeeDee Lamb and Noah Fant compared to having George Kittle and a Russell Gage? So I think maybe you're right in taking a CeeDee Lamb there. Maybe I'm kind of overrating. Actually, no, because what you actually give up is you also give up the fact that you're having to draft 3 tight ends. So never mind, ignore that. I completely went off the loop there. But anyway, A.J. Dillon in the 9th, I love. Darnell Mooney, took him over. I think we're fine. Darnell, Melvin Gordon, great value. I probably should have taken him in the 10th. Jonnu as your 2nd tight end, I like. Kirk Cousins, AJ Green too. Man, this is the best team in the draft. Obviously, you're at a massive advantage when you pull the 101 and you have access to that cheat code that you have with Christian McCaffrey that you get from a roster construction standpoint. But still, that's exactly how you take advantage of that, my man. I mean, I think that's I'm sorry to say this for the team that had the 101 in the last draft, but I think that's a significantly better draft than what we actually saw in the last one. And guys, we are 5 likes away from 600 likes on the live stream. Please make sure you go down there and you drop a like. Okay, so, oh my God, David says no stacks, but he has Juju and Deontay. My God, guys, that is the most, that is the most embarrassing thing of all night. Pull up our roster. Go. Okay, well, we're look at us, guys. We took Ben Roethlisberger in the last draft because we drafted Chase Claypool. But in this one, we don't have the potential for a stack, so we're going to go Sam Darnold. When we have Juju and Deontay Johnson on the same team. I blame it on this being our 8th draft in 2 days. I blame it on this being us having a live stream for 8. We've been live streaming for 8 hours in the past 2 days. That's what I blame it on. So, oh my God, there's nothing more embarrassing than that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Ben Roethlisberger was the selection, obviously. Oh my God. That is horrible. You clearly shouldn't value my opinion at all when I break down your team when I'm making decisions like that. That is atrocious. Okay, here I actually think we can go running back or wide receiver. Running back, our best available would probably be a Ramondre Stevenson, where we draft Stevenson everywhere. The problem is when having Michael Thomas, I think we do want an extra wide receiver in this format. We are going to come away with actually a Kadarius Toney here. Tony and Dwayne Eskridge are pretty close for me, but when we have Daniel Jones, I think we just get Kadarius Toney. Okay. So this is the draft board. Let me show it top to bottom, my dudes. That way everybody can take a screenshot. They can see how this one went. This was a $50 draft that I completely messed up on by taking Sam Darnold over Ben Roethlisberger when we had both Juju and Deontay Johnson. But anyway, my dudes, please make me feel better about spending 8 hours of the past 2 days. While I love it, doing so, it's just the most exhausting thing ever by live streaming. Go down, use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. We're going to be doing this every single night. I'm not taking a single night off. You can hold me to that. I don't care if I come down with strep throat. I don't care if I come down with gonorrhea. I'm going to be live streaming every single night. Maybe I can't talk. Maybe I learn how to do sign language or something. But we're going to be live streaming every single night. I almost put up the mic. I thought we were done for the next month. So make sure you are using promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. You can come out, you can participate in our next draft, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, and most importantly, I'm going to be getting a link out to our Discord chat for anybody who has not joined. So if you used promo code FLOCK and you were not able to DM me on Twitter, not able to DM me on Instagram or anything, you can DM me in this free fantasy football group chat that has like 4,000 or 5,000 people in it. You don't need an email. You don't need a credit card. You don't need anything. You just click the link. You choose your nickname. You start chatting. We just got over 600 likes on the live stream. Thank you, my dudes. I'm going to be sending out all those draft guides for everybody who used promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy right now. Let me send out this free group chat link. Okay, so let me send this out. Okay, so we just sent that. Ethan says, Mason, how do I get the draft guide? Go to that group chat, send me a DM, say, Mason, I use promo code FLOCK. Here's the email that I did so with. That way I know what to go and confirm. You can do that on Twitter. You can do that on Instagram. You can do that on Patreon, really wherever you want. If you are watching this as a video later on, just make sure you go to the description of the video. I'm sure you can actually find the live chat, really, the link anywhere. Just make sure you get over there, shoot me that DM. Make sure you get me the email so I can confirm. And yeah, thank you, my dudes. I really appreciate everybody coming out to the live stream, and I will see you tomorrow night, maybe at 8 p.m. Eastern. Maybe if I get my work done a little earlier, we can go live a little earlier.